Come, they told me, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. A newborn king to see, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. Our finest gifts we bring, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. To lay before the king, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, ba-ba-bum-bum, ba-ba-bum-bum. So to honor him, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, when we come. Baby Jesus, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. I am a poor boy too, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. I have no gift to bring, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. That's fit to give our king, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, ba-ba-bum-bum, ba-ba-bum-bum. Shall I play for you, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, on my drum? Mary nodded, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. The ox and lamb kept time, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. I played my drum for him, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. I played my best for him, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, ba-ba-bum-bum, ba-ba-bum-bum. Then he smiled at me, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, me and my drum.
All right. Welcome everybody to another Beatboxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is from the BDA, and alongside with me as always my co-host, the one, the only King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. I want to thank everybody who's joining us right now. We are approaching the holiday season, so I think we're gonna start picking up the more we go. Guys, listen, you know the drill before we get down to the fun, because we do have a lot to talk about tonight. If you want to continue the gravy train rolling, you can continue to do so by listening, subscribing, hitting the thumbs up button, spreading the BDA gospel to the unwashed masses, to the uninitiated. And if you have a couple of coins lying around, you can always shekel them our way via PayPal or via Patreon page, or during the Super Chat feature, through the Super Chat feature during the show. That's all well and good, but of course, we always appreciate your comments and your support more than all that. So thank you guys for joining us. And speaking of support, we got the Shepherd's Sons in the house, Buddy Aces, Subash Kunwar, shout out to Subash, Celtic 67, or is that Celtic 67, SSB 28, Eric Rosas, and many more people to come, I am sure. Guys, thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us. So we're going to talk about, well, we got a whole bunch of things to talk about. And in particular, I don't know, Butcher, where should we start? We got the Chavez Jr. debacle from last night. We have the Charlo-Harrison rematch, or I should say Harrison-Charlo rematch. We can also talk a little bit about the landscape of the 154-pound division. Maybe also, I wanted to bring up Gennady Golovkin, because apparently he might be fighting in February or March. So there's a lot to talk about, Bucho, a lot to talk about. How do we start this?
All right. First, we get some people in here. We open the phone lines, and we begin by talking about what happened yesterday.
All right. Well, listen, while you
Yep.
Well, you start sending the links. Oh wait, I have to send the links. Um,
No, you
well,
just have to invite somebody else here.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Well, okay. Hold on a second here. Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
listen, let's start with Julio Cesar Chavez then. Julito, as some people call him. Now this guy, well,
Right,
come
let's
on.
look.
Here's the news from Ring Magazine. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. retires in corner after fifth round against Daniel Jacobs. Standing at center ring with a ring card being propped up to protect him from projectiles, Daniel Jacobs was bewildered as he was exuberant. They won't let me enjoy my victory, baby. It's not about you, Daniel. It's not. That's the thing he doesn't quite get. This is the
No.
Mexican audience finally having it with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Bucho, it took them a long time to finally realize how much of a loser this guy is. Because, let me say something first of all, Bucho, because you know I always give fighters the benefit of the doubt, right?
Of course.
And I don't usually, especially this year when we had a lot of casualties, a lot of men down. I don't usually like to be the guys that call somebody a quitter, a pussy, blah blah blah. But with Chavez Jr., how many more chances are people going to give him before they realize he's not cut out for this business? It's whether he's failing drug tests, whether he's coming in overweight, putting in subpar performances against guys that he should be beating easily, and quitting. He did against Nfara. He retired. Okay, quitting. Let's say retired. And then in this fight, he pulled out all the stops. He came in overweight, didn't want to do any testing, and then ends up quitting before the halfway point of the fight. Bucho, I don't think he deserves to get trash thrown at him, but listen, you start pushing the people too long, even the Mexican fan base, they're going to start eventually to throw buckets of piss on you, which is what they did. You think people were throwing beer at him? You know how much beer costs over there in those arenas? They were throwing something else.
Oh yeah.
I see we got Gonzalo on the line. Gonzalo, you there?
Yes, hello.
Hey, good to have you on board, Gonzalo. Listen, I don't know if you heard what I just said about Chavez Jr., but it seems to me like this is one of those cases where I do think a guy has to be criticized for retiring because it's not the first time he's pulled out something like this, and then everything else outside of the ring too. His antics, his lack of work ethic. What do you think?
Yeah, Pete, this is not the first time incident like this happened with him. It's happened many times. I was speaking
That's
to
right.
my friend from the Mexican channel. Look, I was there in 2009 in Tijuana when this happened the first time. Now it went full circle. That happened against Cuello. Cuello in the Tijuana bull ring. Then after it happened in Nebraska and in Sonora, it happened now here. It's happened like 4 times where
What are you
people
talking? You're talking.
throw things to the ring
Okay,
and get crazy with
you're talking about different types of riots, though. You're not talking about Chavez
riots. Yeah,
Jr. related.
riots.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, riots. And it's happened with his brother as well, with Omar Chavez. So it's happened many a times with the Chavez family. And first I thought to myself, maybe he should have come in at weight. So he like what's the point in like surrendering 1/3 of your purse where he gave up 1 million, he only cashed in 2. He should have just made the weight, saved himself the embarrassment, taken the L because like he packed it in, so might as well just take 3 million instead of 2. But really, after it's all said and done, it's better because now he don't have the excuse to say, well, I gave up something because I came in the ring dehydrated. He came is almost like a light heavy, and he still lost. So there shouldn't be any reason why he should want to continue because even the father, he's in denial. He's been in denial, so he needs to understand that 2 years off after being in rehabilitation, doing cocaine, which messes up your nasal passages. You just ain't cut out for it because he took a hit where he got his nose broken, but he's just not that guy that he once was, and he never was elite to begin with. But
Yeah, I heard you. I read that you kept saying that on the Discord that the nose it starts to weakening that cartilage between what's it called exactly well, that cartilage that separates the nostrils. Yeah, that because people put rock or mix rock with the coke and all that, so eventually it just starts wearing down. You think that's what happened with Chavez? Or you think that contributed to the injury?
It contributed, and the fact that he had been off for 2 years, only had fought one round, he just couldn't handle the punches. Like he just I don't think he was like he could deal with the punches. So
Hmm.
he got rattled. He didn't get knocked out, but he got rattled. He didn't like how they felt. I believe.
Right,
It's
because
not
you know what,
it's not the same.
he doesn't have it in him. Maybe back when he was on a good run. I'm talking 2010, 2012. In the build up to the Martinez fight, he beat Andy Lee. He beat Manfredo. Who else was it there that he beat? There was some other dude, some other good. Oh, Marco Antonio Rubio. I mean, those were good little wins. But ever since then, he's just training in his kitchen, like Steve Kim said, to the build-up for the Martinez fight. Putting it. Oh, I forgot the non-performance he put on against Canelo Alvarez. To me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, I didn't even want to see that fight. I got Butcher. I'm gonna put you on the spot for this one. Butcher dragged me to a bar to see that fight. And as soon as the third round came in and Chavez went on the defensive, I knew. I said, I hated being right in that instance. And after that, I can't believe that people even gave him a second chance for this one. I mean, people actually showed up in that Arizona arena to watch Jacobs pound on this guy for 5 rounds. I mean, it's insane. But finally, people have got it. But though, I wouldn't be surprised if they give him a couple of more wins and he comes back again. I would not be surprised.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, maybe his pride is hurt, and he doesn't want to go out in a bad note like he did.
His whole career has been a bad note. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I mean it's true. I mean this guy. Well, how can I say this? The worst thing is he actually does have a little talent. He's got good head movement, or he showed decent head movement, especially in the beginning rounds. But as soon as the pressure is amped up, he just can't handle it.
Yeah, definitely. Before he had better punch resistance, I would dare to say that he can take a punch, but now it's just like he was getting hit with hooks and he was getting hit with uppercuts, and I think he was confusing those for headbutts and elbows.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you know what? That's
I
the
didn't.
funny thing.
Yeah,
Sorry, Gonzalo. That's the funny thing is this is a guy who's been caught with PEDs. Okay, Bucho, you tell me the phone lines are open?
Yeah.
Or you want me to go to them now? Or
Well, you have to open them. I can't open them. Yeah, there's
okay,
a phone
but
call. This guy says he needs to call now because he's at work or
oh,
something.
crikey. Okay, hold on a second. I didn't. I thought you told me that we are gonna open them.
No, I said I'm gonna open them right away.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna go to the phone. We're gonna go to the phone lines at some point more often, people.
Well,
But
we better go to the phone lines now because there's a few people here in the panel, and later on it's gonna be full and it's gonna be impossible.
all right. Just wanted to establish a little bit about what we were talking about. Hold on. Well, yeah, just as because I got to log in here as a starting point. You guys talk about this, but with Chavez Jr., it's not the first time that he's. I mean, he's been caught with foreign substances. He hasn't made weight, and so he's a cheater in a way. And it's funny that every time he goes in there and he starts getting hit to the body, he starts complaining that they're hip shots, and he'll actually stop and look at the referee, which is something very dangerous.
Diva behavior.
Exactly.
He didn't even try to make weight. Apparently, I was watching an ESPN video that took place before the fight, obviously, and Chavez Sr. was saying that he was disappointed that his son didn't make weight. However, apparently, it seems like Chavez Jr. talked to Eddie Hearn and Jacobs, and he told them, "I will not suffer to make weight because then I won't be able to perform properly." So, yeah, he actually told them, "Listen, I'm not gonna be able to make weight. I'm not gonna suffer through that." So this is a guy who doesn't want to go through the pain of making weight. He's not there.
Yeah.
He's still, yeah. Anyways,
so like I was like, all right, maybe it's better he make weight. Okay, that way he looks good. Then he doesn't embarrass himself on the scales, then like if he still packed it in, like I said, he would have collected 3 million. But at the end, it's better because now he don't have that excuse that he had to suffer on the scales and that he wasn't gonna be his best self at 100%. Now he don't have that excuse. So moving forward, he can't say that I was depleted. You know, even the guy at 172 still lost, and he packed it and he quit. Okay, so yeah,
So he should fucking retire at this point. I said
he
it
should.
on. Yeah, no, his name shouldn't even be spoken on this channel.
It's a good point.
It's true. I mean, it's fucking true. It's just embarrassing. And I was so tired yesterday. I stayed up to watch this goddamn fight.
Oh, whoa.
I mean-
What's with the swearing?
Oh yeah, I forgot. This is a family show. But you guys get the point. It was just disgusting, man. And Jacobs, what he wants praise and adoration for fighting Chavez Jr. and defeating him. A guy who didn't even came to fight, to be honest. That's also kind of embarrassing a little bit.
Yeah, I always wondered why the father keeps pushing the sons to fight. Like, are they like seriously having money issues?
No, I think
Or
it's
money
just,
is that
no.
important?
It's a
It's
question
pride.
of pride.
yeah,
It's a question of pride.
exactly what it is. It's pride. It's these guys. Listen, it's
Since it appears you're calling back
his
into a
his
live show, we are
father
reconnecting
keeps
you now.
pressuring him into it because I think also he wants to live vicariously through his
Your
son.
show will go live in 5
Jesus.
seconds.
Hold on.
4.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I think he wants to live vicariously, to keep extending his career. It's a form of an extension of his career. But Jacobs should not be getting any too much
What
criticism
career?
for this. You know what I mean? Because he won. He did what he had to. Like I will say, Bucho, I agree with you. He shouldn't be thinking he's the big boss now because he beat Chavez. I mean, everybody's beaten Chavez at this point. Every top fighter. So there's nothing overly impressive about that. All right, let's listen. Let's go to the phone lines because you said that this guy on the line can't stay long. So, all right, 484. You're on the air. 484.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Jackson. I gotta go to work soon, and I've been busy. I haven't seen the last couple of shows, so I'm sorry about that. I have to go rewatch them. I mean, this is the best show on YouTube, no doubt.
Oh,
And I mean, it really is a great show, guys. But I want to give my first of all, I didn't see the Chavez Jacobs fight. What round did it end? The fifth?
yeah, fifth. Well, I think between the fifth and the sixth.
Did he just quit?
Yeah, he as soon as okay, that's a good point here that you bring up because I wanted to introduce this little thing here, and Bucho agreed with me last night. He actually there's a point in the last round before the stoppage where you can see he starts backing up, and I think it was because he ate a right uppercut, and he just started backing up and started buying Jacob's feint. So I think he got hurt at some point there, and as soon as the round ended, he walked up to his corner, he started shaking his head. And he said, like, no puedo. He said, he was saying that his hand was hurt.
Yeah,
broken.
initially he said his hand
Right.
was the issue.
I mean, hand injuries are the best way to get out of a fight. I mean, we see Riggin now do it. I mean, that's the most common excuse because you can't see under the glove, so you can basically just say anything happened to your hand. I mean, I really wasn't even interested in that fight because of the performance Jacobs. I mean, Jacobs is a quality opponent, but after the performance against Canelo, I really wasn't that too high on him. But I knew this was a fight he was going to win. So, and he got the job done. And Chavez Jr., it's very rare you see these fighters that are as good as their old man. That pretty much never happens. So that pretty much went the way it should have went.
Mm-hmm. Now you're right, man. I mean, it's he does kind of fight like his father. He has a good chin, and pretty good upper body movement when he wants to use it. But he's very inconsistent. He doesn't have heart. Yeah. He doesn't have heart either. That's the problem. He has no heart. He has no work ethic. He wants to juice and go in there.
That's the thing with exactly, BDA. That's the thing with these kids. They didn't come up they came up rich as shit. So they didn't come up on the streets. They weren't struggling, and So that's the difference between them. I think they got the genes, but they just don't have the, like Manny Pacquiao, like sleeping in the ring at night. They grew up in mansions, so it's completely different.
Well, listen, there's a reason why a lot of world-class boxers, especially all-time greats, they don't want their kids boxing because they know how hard it is to make it as a contender. I remember Larry Holmes in an interview. They asked him, "Would you ever let your son?" Because I think he has several sons or several children. They asked him, "Would you ever let one of your sons box if he wanted to?" He said, "No." He said, "I would tell him straight up, you're an idiot if you want to get into this boxing game. I didn't get my head beaten," he said, "to watch you go to the same thing because this sport is hard." Just to make it as a contender, and even now with all the world titles available, anybody can be almost anybody can be a champion. But I mean, you still have skill and work ethic.
Easily. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
But Jackson,
no, keep saying what you're saying, BDA.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask you: do you think Chavez should retire?
I think they both should retire. No, yeah.
Wait.
Because
come on.
He's just making money off his name, and until Jacobs wins over a quality of, but it seems to me that everybody except Gennady Golovkin looks bad, or Floyd Mayweather looks bad against Canelo. Like, I was sure Kovalev was gonna do something against Canelo, and he sparked him out. So we can't yell at I was disappointed in that performance against Canelo, so I wasn't that high on Jacobs. But I think Chavez should definitely retire, but Jacobs is still a good contender, and he could probably become a champion again, especially with Callum Smith's recent performance. I think that might even be a decent fight. I don't know about you guys.
Anybody want to chime in on that one, Gonzalo? Bucho?
I mean, he didn't fight that Callum Smith. And
Jacobs was supposed to answer a lot of questions. We couldn't really appreciate that too well to get a good answer, because he was fighting at 68 for the first time. Okay. He displayed some movement. He obviously showed some power. He put his combinations together. The referee was telling him to throw 1-2s. He got the job done in 5 rounds, but I actually want to see him fight another 68-pounder.
A real 168-pounder. A dedicated 168-pounder, of course. This fight didn't answer any questions. I guess he took some Chavez Jr. body shots. Well, like 2 or 3 there that landed, but nah. We really have to see him with somebody else. Well, I wouldn't mind seeing him against Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders is also a guy who moved up from 160. So, yeah.
I think he's saying Jacobs.
Chavez or Jacobs?
He's saying Jacobs. He's saying Jacobs, yeah.
I don't want to see Chavez.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you guys,
though. Oh, yeah. No, Jacobs. Chavez has to retire.
At what weight was this fight? Was it a 168 or was it a catch weight?
This 168.
It was at 68, but later it got changed to allow Chavez to come in at 172.
Right, because he wasn't going to make that weight. This guy can't do it. He just can't.
So technically, the fight was billed at light heavyweight.
Jeez.
Was that Jackson?
Wow.
Oh, he's saying wow.
4 pounds over. No, I'm just saying that. But that's what Jacobs did to. Didn't he do that to? No, he didn't do that. Canelo did that to him. Never mind. I thought Jacobs was the guy that was always draining guys, but now it was Canelo. My fault.
Jacobs disrespected Jacobs against Canelo. He disrespected the sanctity of the rehydration clause. He wasn't supposed to rehydrate up to a certain limit, and he said screw that, and he did. So that's something that it's to Jacobs' credit. Some people say, well, if they have a contract in place, you're supposed to respect that contract. That contract's not supposed to be there in the first place. They're all playing games. So in that sense, I was okay with Jacobs violating the rehydration clause because he shouldn't have been in the first place. And if he agreed to it,
I agree
all right.
with you. Yep.
All right. Well, listen.
No, I agree. They're all playing games. They're all trying to one up. But 4 pounds, like he didn't even try to make the weight. You can tell he didn't do any running. He sat in the sauna, and he didn't even try because that's 4 pounds. Like that's no attempt. And what's funny to me is both Chavez and Jacobs didn't get knocked out by Canelo, but Canelo knocked out Kovalev. That just blows my mind.
Well, it's interesting though. Yeah, that's a good point. But I will say this though, Jacobs, it's a different style than Kovalev. It's a different style, much better stamina, if you ask me.
Yeah,
So that's one thing there. We're gonna review the Kovalev fight. I mean, because that's the one that really split this show apart. I mean, in terms of opinion, everybody, it was one side or the other. Of course, as always, Mr. BDA, I tried to keep it down the middle, but we're gonna revisit it, and I'm gonna let you know what I've thought about that fight so far and the stance that I'm taking now. So we should do a show on that. Listen, Jackson, we're gonna move on, but anything else you want to mention before we let you go?
I would say two things real quick. Yeah, you are like the Glenn Beck of BDA.
Wait a minute.
Because I heard recognize, you stay neutral. It's good for you, man.
No, I mean I stay
Good
neutral
stuff,
until
but,
I stay neutral until I finally
you're
see a spot that I can a side that I can take, but I don't take a side right away.
Exactly. No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I want to give a prediction on Charlo and Harrison. Who are your guys' favorite in this fight? Because I haven't been listening to the show.
Well, we haven't really talked about this fight until today.
Yeah, today's that episode. Yeah. But I'll give you my thing. Well, you know what? Stay tuned, Jackson. We're gonna talk about that as soon as we're done with the Chavez debacle.
Well, let me just give my prediction because I gotta go to work and do a bunch of bullshit, so I'll re-listen. But I think it's either gonna be Charlo by knockout or Harrison by decision. But I like Harrison. I think he has the mental edge. I think Charlo is a cornball, as Vinnie Mac would say. But I think it's going to be an interesting fight. It might not be exciting, but I'm going to try to watch it however I can. So, it's just because it might not be exciting, but it's going to be intriguing. So, that's all I want to say.
All right.
But,
Fantastic.
Thanks, boys. I appreciate
Thank you
it.
for calling in, and thank you for the compliments. I didn't appreciate though the comparison to Glenn Beck. I mean, what's next? You're gonna compare me to Perez Hilton, that gay queen? Come on, what's the matter with you?
There you go.
Hey, Jackson.
Hang up.
All right, that's all I'm gonna say. All right, thank you very much, Jackson, for calling in. We'll catch you on the next one. All right. Oh, he's gone. All right. Yeah. By the way, this is the phone message that I left to Chavez Jr. I was able to find his phone number, and I left a whole bunch of messages. I think he's gonna think I'm a stalker now, but this is what I left him.
I've been an ass of myself. You have insulted me for the last time. You are a rude, thoughtless little pig. What a rude little pig you really are.
Anyway, after that, I think he blocked my number, and I couldn't leave any messages. And this is the collective of the boxing world. And this is what they're all saying at this point in terms of Chavez and his performance, or like they're
I can barely hear it.
Shame on you!
Did you hear
No,
that?
that I heard.
All
Yeah,
right.
that was loud.
Listen,
The other ones.
oh, that was loud? All right.
Yeah, the other ones were like a little bit too low.
I see. Well, listen, the point is, Chavez Jr., we've all had enough of him. I had enough of him back in 2017. That was the last straw, like I said, when he showed up, he showed up in physically, but not in spirit, or with spirit, rather, against Canelo. And I can't, that's the thing that baffles me the most, that people still showed up last night to watch him fight Jacobs. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? Did you really think Chavez Jr. was going to put up a good fight? Did you really think he was going to beat Jacobs? Come on. I've had it with boxing fans.
They have loyal, hardcore fans. Even in Mexico, like, for example, the brother is basically like a journeyman. And he fills up the arenas over there. And they're kind of callous to embarrassing situations because, like I said, it's happened in the past before with this brother where they get all crazy in the arenas.
Mm-hmm.
And with Chavez too. I mentioned that in 2009, Luciano Cuello, that was the first time. And in many other places to where, the fans get really, really crazy. So people that don't know this, this is not the first time that this happens with the whole attendance, the audience. It's happened many, many times.
And by the
with
way,
Chavez's.
Gonzalo, can you confirm what Bucho and I were talking about before you showed up, which is that they're not actually throwing beer, that expensive beer that they sell. They're not actually throwing that at the fighters.
They're throwing piss. They're throwing piss.
Well, I thought you were going to be a little bit more low key with that instead of just saying. But yeah, let's just go ahead and say it outright. They're throwing piss on these people.
That's how it works in fights.
Yeah, I mean,
the ones I've been to.
Yeah, nobody's going to throw away their hard-earned money on that. Was that Bucho?
Oh, I was going to say that maybe it's time to move on from Chavez. I mean, this guy's a disgrace.
And
we can really, yeah.
That's the thing I just want to emphasize, because I said in the beginning of the show that there's people loading up their bombs. That's ammunition for Chavez Jr. Listen, I want to emphasize something here. It might sound like we're shitting on Chavez Jr., but I think if there's a fighter out there that deserves to be shit on, it's Chavez Jr. Because, I mean, how many times are we going to take his crap? How many times? Training in his living room. I can't believe that Freddie Roach actually showed up to train him. Or in the corner.
What?
I mean, this guy...
I don't know.
I mean,
money?
He'll show money. Oh, yeah. Well, he needs to pay for that Parkinson's medication and all those... And those LA hairstylists. Remember that? Those gay stylists that we saw on 24/7 once? But yeah, you know what, Butcher, you're right. Let's move on from this. Chavez Jr., hopefully he never fights again, because there's other guys out there that work hard, that put their asses on the line, actually want to win. They put their health on the line. They're willing to go the extra mile. Meanwhile, this guy goes in there with his hot pink underwear on in the morning, eating Cheerios after a night of smoking marijuana. And we're supposed to pay for this guy? Get out of here. Get out of here. I've had it with him. This is what I think of Chavez Jr., man. That's what I think of him. You think that's low key? All right, well, that's that type of humor he deserves.
Next time there's gonna be an actual riot, like a full-on. Was it Riddick Bowe, Golada?
Golada, yeah.
Yeah, the riot. It's gonna happen again. So stay away from Chavez Jr.
You know what?
Stay away from him.
That's the motto of this show now. We stay away from Chavez. Actually, I like I said, 2017, that was my motto. I've never mentioned him afterwards. But tonight we had to, because of what happened last night. And guess what? That's the last you hear about Chavez Jr. from us. All right, so...
Let's just make it official.
We're making it. I'm making it official.
No, official. His name cannot be spoken on this channel. All right?
Mm-hmm.
We all agree in the chat? I think we all agree.
Well, I want confirmation from the chat before we actually move on.
Let's pass a vote here.
Let's pass a vote. Well, listen, we do have a nice little fight. Chalino Sanchez says Chavez is my hero. I hope you're talking about senior. Because if you're talking about junior, I'm afraid that's not going to cut it. All right. All right. We have, like I said, Tony Harrison, 28 with 28 wins, 2 losses by KO, by the way, and 21 knockouts. He's going to be taking on Jermell Charlo, 32-1 with 16 knockouts. But don't let that knockout record fool you. He actually hits harder than he seems, especially lately. And it's a rematch of a fight last December, and it ended by unanimous decision for Tony Harrison, which some people disagreed with, especially Jermell Charlo. Scorecards were 115-113, 115-113, and 116-112 for Tony Harrison in an upset. So we have that rematch here. I want to talk about, first of all, the stylistic matchup for this fight, because it seems to me that Charlo, I thought he won the first fight. All right? I thought he won the first fight. Now, he did fight a little bit too cautiously. Not as much as Tony Harrison did, though. He was the one that was way too cautious in that fight. But he ended up getting the wrong end of the decision in my book. But now he gets a chance to redo that. That being said, he is a counterpuncher. I think Charlo's a classic boxer puncher. So if he starts to change it up too much and starts trying to just slug it out with Harrison and jump on him from the get-go, he could get hurt because, like I said, when I was reading out Harrison's knockout ratio, the guy can punch. He actually stunned Charlo a little bit in the first fight. So, guys, what do you think? Should Charlo just do what he did last time with a couple of modifications, or should he go all out and really try to put it on Harrison?
Not go all out because he can get caught, and he got caught several times. So I mean, Harrison is dangerous. He's waiting for those openings, but I mean, Charlo, he's a better boxer in my opinion. He hits harder. Forget the knockouts. It's true what Charlo was saying about Harrison.
Wait a
Sure,
minute.
he has more
Did you say he's hotter?
No, he's harder.
Yeah, I thought you said
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
hotter. I got
Harder,
what?
yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the matter with
Oh,
him?
well, look at Charlo's his style, the
Uh-huh.
fashion. He has a fashion.
No, but seriously, okay, keep going with what you were saying.
I think. Listen, my prediction is Charlo by stoppage. I think he's gonna catch him this time around. He just has to be a little bit more aggressive, but he needs to set up that right hand. It's not like he just throws that out of nowhere, and he was very predictable.
Hmm.
So he needs to maybe also change levels, move around from different angles, but just try to land that over right hand. And I think he's gonna land it this time around. But again, he needs to set it up.
Yeah, it was a close fight, the first one. And Charlo was barely missing his target. He needs to step into his punches and punch through the target a little better. It looks like he did a lot of sparring and he got used to aiming to the headgear, to where in the actual fight he was barely missing. Like he was barely missing by like an inch or less. So he needs to step in to his punches and connect, and just be prepared for the counter. Okay, just because you miss by an inch or so doesn't mean that you can't still avoid that counter. That the counter is not coming, and that if you're there, that you can't still get away from it. He can. He just needs to adjust just a little bit.
Guys, the other thing about this is that Harrison has been very vocal coming into this fight, and he called Charlo a mental midget. He called him the ultimate hoe. I believe that's what he called him. I could be wrong. Actually, I get the quote right here.
You just the ultimate hoe.
And he was saying that he believes that his older brother, was probably beating up on him. So my question is, do you think Harrison knows he lost? Because that's what Charlo keeps saying. He says, "You know you lost," and Harrison says, "No, I whooped you." There was no whooping from anybody that night. I mean, there was a clear winner for me in Charlo. Could be wrong though. I only rewatched the fight once. But what do you guys think? Do you think Harrison's a little bit weak himself, and that he might be stopped in this fight if things get too hot?
Yeah, I think he'll get stopped, but it's more because of his stamina.
Well, yeah, that was
Yeah,
the point in coming into
Yeah.
the first fight, right? That he always sort of faded down the stretch a little bit, especially his losses.
Well,
Yeah. Ninth round,
he-
both stoppages.
He looked like Skeletor in the weigh-in.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like Skeletor, and he's got that old ankle injury for the reason the fight got postponed the first time, and he's been KO'd 2 times in the fights that he was winning, but his endurance gave out. So I think that Charlo got the better engine. He's got underrated power, and he makes the adjustments. He can stop Harrison like around the 10th round, 9th or 10th round.
I think so too, because Charlo is one of those guys that has a larger variety of offense. You can see him in the first 4 rounds, he was having trouble with Harrison, but afterwards he started leading with overhand rights. He started going to the body a little bit more, just setting up the shots way better. I think he's definitely the better fighter, but Harrison has that punch. And the other thing that people are talking about is Charlo getting way too emotional. I just saw that a couple of people said that in the chat room. And in the past, he's been able to fight this and perform well despite being wound up. I'm talking about the Eric Lubin fight, for example. But in this one, you can only go in there frustrated so much or so long before it finally catches up to you. What do you guys think? Do you think he can perform under this mentality, or is it gonna cost him?
Well, if he burned the midnight oil in the gym training, and he got good instructions, good training, he can hone in that anger. He can channel it into to have a good performance. It's all how you are able to deal with it. I think he can.
Butcher, what do you think?
I think it's gonna help him because he did need to be a little bit more aggressive in that first fight. Again, not too aggressive, but just a little bit more aggressive. So maybe this is gonna, wake him up a little bit. And for these people who claim that the first fight was some sort of chess match or something, tactical fight, that's bullshit, man. It was two guys who didn't really have an offensive IQ, and so they were both very hesitant to throw any punches. That's what it was. It wasn't really that tactical.
By the way, yeah, you got to
That's an excellent point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good point. But Bucho, I could do without the swearing, man. I mean, it's a holiday season.
Sorry,
I've said it once. Yeah. I've said it a million times.
Sometimes you don't sound like you're kidding. There's a lot of people around.
All right, you better watch it.
Yeah, I know. Right. I know. Grandma's watching it.
Bucho, I asked you that before the Charlo, the other Charlo, when he fought Hogan, and I asked you, do you think Charlo should just throw a caution to the wind and go after him? And you said yes, because that's your type of mentality. And he sort of did that. I mean, he did better than Jaime Munguia. And he did, so he did pretty well. So maybe Charlo, the other Charlo, the one that's fighting tonight, maybe he should do something similar. Just, try to look for.
Yeah, but I feel like Munguia is stronger.
Than the Charlos,
like more durable. Charlo, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't have this feeling that they are.
I definitely think the Charlos are better fighters than Munguia.
I agree with that. Absolutely, Munguia. I mean, he's still young, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I know what's happening right now, and he doesn't look that good.
Depending, I guess, who you put him in there against. A guy like
Hogan.
Hogan.
He bombs sometimes, and he still doesn't really perform.
Yeah, I think they're trying to rebuild. Well, I mean, he only really looked bad against Hogan and against the Japanese guy who was...
Japanese guy.
But the Japanese guy, he was juiced, man. You could tell. I mean, that guy, he looked like a... When you have a Japanese...
But then again, Munguia is a weight bully. You could say he's a weight bully. He's pretty big.
That's true. That's true.
So, no. Charlo. Yeah.
But I also wanted to ask you guys, in regards to the Charlo Harrison fight, it seems to me like... Again, this is one of those fights where the first one was pretty weird. It threw us a curveball because of the decision. Because I was sure Charlo was going to get it. He's one of him and his brother are the darlings of the PBC, or one of the darlings. They get good, or not good fights, but they get dates every year, whereas other PBC fighters have to beg to fight once a year. So I definitely thought, man, they're going to give it to Charlo, especially because he deserved the decision. And then they gave it to Harrison. So do you think something else weird could happen here where he's winning the fight and he starts getting overconfident and all of a sudden he runs into a big right hand?
It could happen. Is it likely? I don't know. I have Charlo winning. I definitely have Charlo. I think Harrison is a bit we're concerned because he keeps talking as if he's like, I whooped your ass for 12 rounds. It's like, really? Because I didn't have him winning the fight. A lot of people didn't have Harrison winning that fight.
But that's interesting. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just think he looks like he's nervous.
I wanted to ask Gonzalo. Gonzalo, who did you have winning the fight? I think I missed. I don't know if you mentioned it before. But...
I'm going to be completely honest. When I watched it the first time, I didn't score it, but I thought Charlo won. Then upon further review, I noticed that Charlo missed a lot, and that everybody was saying that Harrison won. So I kind of reserved my opinion, to be honest, because I was thinking to myself, maybe I'm not seeing something that everybody else is. So it was one of those type of fights. Yeah, Charlo did miss a lot, but I thought he was like the more aggressive guy. Even with the whole missing and all, I still think he won the first fight. But I kind of reserved my opinion because everybody else was saying that Harrison won.
That's a good point, man, because, I mean, if both guys are missing and there's not much going on, but one guy is being the aggressor, that's ring generalship, because he was dictating more or less the pace, or what little pace there was. So I think you got to put that into account, and that's one of the reasons why I gave it to Charlo. I mean, I think to my eyes, it seemed like he landed more, and he was dictating the pace, pushing Harrison back, making him. He was getting offers too, Charlo. So I don't understand why people, or even, I mean, look, like Bucho said, Harrison is trying to hype himself up here, saying that he whooped. I mean, what's he gonna say? No, I didn't deserve the win.
No, I understand. But when Let me see what I wrote here because I watched the face-to-face thing, and any time Charlo, what he kept saying was, who have you fought, who have you beat, which is true, but it doesn't matter, right? It's getting into into Harrison's head, saying, first of all, you didn't beat me, and you haven't, because this is another thing, man. Tony Harrison, he's like flip-flopping. He's saying like, I'm gonna knock you out, and then he's saying, I'm gonna dominate you again for 12 rounds. And it seems like as we approach the fight, he's going more towards that conclusion, which is he's gonna win a 12-round decision. So he's not expecting a knockout win. All right.
Well, I tell you who is expecting a knockout win. That's Charlo. He said he's gonna. What did he say? Take out the smelling salts. Something to that effect. He's expecting to knock him out cold. Now, we've heard people say that before, but it certainly seems like Charlo is going to go in with that mentality, at least, that he wants to hurt Harrison. But
yeah.
But that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Harrison, he's been stopped twice by KO. Now, there's no indication that the Charlo or the Charlos, for that matter, because they're twins, have bad chins. Okay.
Right.
One thing else I had to say, I kind of agree with Bucho. Harrison's performance is really, really overrated. Yeah, that wasn't like no masterclass performance in chess match.
And he knows this. I mean, he must know this. And Tony Harrison, he knows he's gonna expect a even stronger Charlo, or a stronger Charlo. And Charlo did hurt him in that first fight.
Mm-hmm.
Round 5 and round 12 for sure, over right hands or straight right hands, and he's been knocked out. So it's in his head, right? Tony Harrison getting knocked out again, maybe, and so I think he's now rethinking the whole fight. Listen, I don't even think he was expecting to win the first fight.
Yeah.
You look at his reaction. He got the win. He's feeling like the champion. Because he's also feeling as if, maybe he didn't really deserve that win, and now he's going to be facing a stronger Charlo, a more aggressive Charlo, and a few times when Charlo was aggressive, he managed to hurt him. So
that was a weird card where they gave it to Harrison. It was a close fight though, but then they the other brother deserved to lose against Korobov.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. It was like they were overcompensating. Maybe they thought to themselves, "We screwed this guy. Let's give the brother, the benefit of the doubt over here."
Yeah, that was a highly weird card. And by the way, we have I think we have G Boogie on that. G Boogie, are you there?
Yes, sir. How y'all gentlemen doing? I apologize if you hear any distortion. Please let me know if you do, because I'm driving.
Yeah, you do sound very over-modulated there. And we can hear you listening to... You have to turn down the music, man.
Yeah, man.
That's not me.
All right, thought it was you. All right, listen, G Boogie, thank you for being on. We're talking about... the Charlo Harrison rematch, and the point of discussion so far is whether Harrison really believes he won the first fight, and whether if things get a little too hot in there, is he gonna melt under the pressure?
Well, I picked Charlo to win this fight. Harrison, he backpedals a lot. He did win the first one. He do believe in it. Maybe he has second thoughts. I don't know. That's on him to rationalize that. He needs to go in there and make sure that he has the proper game plan like he did before. And this time, if you have him hurt or you have the opportunity to hurt him, do so. And Charlo, I think he's taking it seriously now because he's been taking those ginger shots.
Oh, what's that? What does that mean? Those ginger shots?
What?
What are you trying to say here?
No, I'm saying ginger. He's taking ginger, the root he has a Jamaican cook or something like that. That it gives you your immune systems. Opens up more of your immune system. It allows you to it's more natural. So
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Okay.
whatever.
Hey, he's
I
gonna end
thought
up.
he was talking.
He's gonna show
Sorry,
up.
I thought he was talking. Sorry, go ahead, BD.
He's gonna show up speaking in patois. How you doing, man? How you doing? All right, what are
They
you
gonna
gonna
be
say?
like, hey man, a blood clot fire boy, and I say,
Bomba
Charlo, I'm the lion's den.
All right, what were you gonna say, Gonzalo?
BD, I just thought he was talking about the Canelo shots. The
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too, or something like that.
That's what
That's
I
like,
thought. Well, ginger is good, man. I drink. What I do, I like to cut up ginger, a lot of ginger, and put some hot water. And man, that's it just gives you a nice little boost. You don't have to drink coffee afterwards. That's the ginger right there. A little turmeric too.
I'm
Hey,
drinking
but
it right now.
on-
I'm drinking it right now.
No,
G-Boogie.
no, on a serious note, though, it actually helps your immune system because I'm going to give you something personal. My daughter has sickle cell, but she has the rare kind of sickle cell. She has the SE, which is for only Native American Indians and Hispanics and African descent have the S class. The E class comes from the Asian descent, which, from Iberian, Russians, stuff like that. That's European style of sickle cell. Okay, what sickle cell is a sickling of the cell of your red blood cells, which is oblong shape instead of regular circular shape. But if you put it by the side, it's curved, and it's also good for your immune system because that's what it's almost like a deficiency of like leukemia, but it's not as worse as leukemia, but it's partially like leukemia because it affects your immune system.
So the ginger helps with that.
Yes, it does because it's natural.
Fantastic. That's great to hear, man. How many cups or how much? What amount of ginger should one consume?
That I did not do the research on because, it's good that they get vitamin D, vitamin C from the sun, and take more supplements besides your drink more water for a sickle cell patient. The SS is the worst kind of sickle cell because that's African Americans that have the sickle cell trait.
Right.
And Hispanics like Puerto Ricans, any Mexican descent they have, if they have any trait of African blood in them, they could have the SS class. So it's good to that's why I inform my daughter, even though when she dates later, make sure that the person she falls in love with or don't have that, and I make sure that the person that's with my daughter is going to understand, there's a responsibility, and if you don't have that responsibility capability, then I'm going to fuck you up, and
Whoa! No, wait a minute. No.
you're going to need to get the fuck out of my daughter's life, period.
All right. Well, see that's what happens when somebody points a gun at you when you're 16. You tend to get a little mean towards everybody, the way G Boogie is right now. No, but I understand what you're saying. Obviously, I mean it's a very important thing there. Your daughter's health. But getting back to the Charlo thing, regardless of whether he's taking ginger shots or not, he's a highly emotional guy, and it's interesting because I think it was Radio Raheem after the first press conference or second press conference, he asked him, you seem very angry at Harrison. He goes, I'm not angry. I'm just passionate. I'm thinking, you're angry, man. Come on. If you go in there and you blow your load and you start screaming at the other guy, throwing out the N-word, you're angry. Why is he trying to play it off as if he's just relaxed and everything? When in fact, Bucho, you mentioned that Charlo's getting into his head a little bit. I think it's both of the guys are living in each other's heads a little bit.
Yeah, when I noticed that Harrison kind of got into Charlo's head is when he told him, you are not as good as you think you are. And
Hmm.
I saw like a little bit of a reaction. And it's true. I mean, the Charlo brothers, they were undefeated. They think they're the best, that everybody's avoiding them, that they're on the same level as these other big fighters that are around their same weight division. But now, Jermell took a loss against a guy who he really shouldn't have lost to.
Hmm.
So there's doubt not creeping in. And I think that's the one of the few moments where I saw that Harrison got into Charles Jermell.
But
Yeah, I concur with that notion.
Look, Harrison got skills, but he's the tale of two fighters. He doesn't have that good of a gas. He will gas out in the latter part of the fight.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
also Charlo has to push him a little bit more, so he actually gets tired because in the first fight nothing really much happened. So Harrison really didn't get that tired as in
hmm
other performances where he was really fucking tired.
That's a good point.
yeah.
That's why I was
I
Yeah,
asking.
think I think I think if Charlo really wants to press the issue and wants to go in there and prove that he was quote unquote robbed from a close decision, which I don't think it was. I think Harrison did beat, and he needs to go in there with the mentality: I'm going to press the issue. I'm going to show him my superior stamina, and I'm going to take it to the break him. And that's the mentality he needs to go in there and take it to him. And with Harrison, if he feels that he did beat Charlo and he wants to prove that he's the superior boxer, he needs to go in there with his game plan and follow to the T.
You know what? Yeah, you cut off there a little bit at the end, but we heard everything you said before, and that it's true. He does. I think you and Bucho concur. He has to put it on him a little bit because, again, I don't know if you guys disagree with this, but I think if somebody's both guys have chinks in their mental armor, but I think Harrison's the guy that has more to make up for because Charlo already has superior IQ, ring IQ, and skills, and talent really. So I think he or just has to show up and turn it on Harrison and make him break a little bit. The other thing is this: Charlo was crying after the first fight because he lost, and I'm thinking, I understand it's devastating to lose a world championship and all that, but it's not like he got knocked out. It's not like he got schooled. It's not like he got shown that there was a guy that was that much better than him. It was a controversial fight. Most people actually thought he won. So why is he crying? See, that
Because his
sets off
whole
an alarm.
reality came crashing, like his bubble got just burst.
But that's what I'm saying. If that
He
would have
was living in
happened,
the La La Land.
no, but
In
Bucho,
his
Bucho,
head.
Bucho, if he would have really lost, I understand, but he must know that he didn't really lose. So why is he crying? Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Let's. Well, he didn't really lose it. Maybe in his head, yeah. But for sure, he must. He didn't. He wasn't proud of that performance because
Mm.
nothing much went on, and he probably realized after the fight, if I could have done a little bit more, this wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have been this close, and it's true.
Yeah, I believe that too. Yep.
I think yeah. I think it was just basically that he lost the O to where that's really valued nowadays, and
Yeah,
that significant factor that his career lost that luster, not of invincibility, but of pristine, like intact record. That really affected him because he thinks maybe from a marketability standpoint, I'm not the same guy, and people are not going to respect me because I'm not this undefeated person. Not that he
Good
got his
point.
ass kicked or anything.
no, exactly. The idea of the O is just leaving.
Good points,
No
guys.
more
Yeah, very
O.
good.
By the way, Mr. BDA, we have a phone call.
All right, but just wanted to say real good points there. Yeah, that sort of answers my question there. It's the O, like Gonzalo said, and also like Bucho said, it's frustration of he knows what he should have done, but he didn't do it. So I think there were tears of frustrations. All right,
Cry me a river.
all right. Hold on a second. We got a phone call. All right, 267. You're on the air. 267.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm driving. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Who is this? Virtuoso or?
Jay, I think.
Oh no, my bad. This Dre out of Philly.
Oh, Dre. Thank you for calling
Oh.
in, man.
Yeah, no problem. How y'all brothers feeling?
Good, good. We're just talking Harrison versus Charlo. We're talking about who is stronger mentally, because we do believe that that the mentality is gonna come down to it, the the resolve of both fighters. So, what do you want? You want to chime in on
Well,
this?
yeah, it's a few things I have a problem with that I find what you guys are saying is problematic, and I'm gonna go ahead and respectfully state what they are. First, I want to preface it with this: Sean Porter, Teddy Atlas, forgot the Mexican brother's name, the one that was supposed to fight Javante Davis, but he got hurt. Can't think of his name. And
Abner Maris.
the
Abner
Julian
Morris.
Williams. Yeah, Abner Morris and the 154-pound champion Julian Williams all concur with the sentiment that Tony Harrison won that fight. He clearly won that fight. That's in my opinion. Secondly, I think that we keep saying that Jermell Charlo need to do more. If you look at Jermell Charlo's track record of fighting top fighters, he doesn't knock them out. I'll give you an example. He fought Gabe Rosado. He fought Von Matarosa. He fought Austin Trout. And he fought Austin Trout after Austin Trout came off of a devastating loss from Jared Hurd, and he could barely touch the guy. People that move on Jermell Charlo gives him fits, and he doesn't have the educated feet of a Terrence Crawford or a Triple G or a Lomachenko or even a Sean Porter to get in position and to sagaciously put pressure on a guy. I'll give you an example. When he fought Tony Harrison, first of all, his understanding of distance is abysmal at best. He swings 1-2s, and if the guy isn't there, he swings the right hand and literally fall out of position.
The right
And
hand.
Harrison countered him like at least 3 to 4 times, and he keeps his head on the line. One thing about Harrison is Harrison has an extremely educated, good jab. If you keep your head on the line the way Jermell Charlo does, that jab will land all night. He's facilitating Harrison to land that jab on him. So, make a longer story short, Charlo does not have a good understanding of distance. He loads up on all of his punches. He's extremely easy to hit. And he doesn't have the educated feet because he punches before he moves. And he's like, I don't know what it is about Derrick James fighters. Errol Spence does it a lot. Jermell Charlo does it a lot before he made the transformation to Ronnie Shields. And I'm looking at the promo for this fight, and they're out swimming, drinking ginger shots, and riding bikes. I mean, this is not a marathon. You're not about to go on a track meet. You're about to fight. You need to be working on your fundamentals. You need to be working on slipping that jab. You need to be working on putting your feet together, aligning your feet with your shoulders so you can be able to get in position to throw those punches. And me personally, from retrospectively speaking, Harrison is going to beat him again because, like I said, when he fights solid competition, he keeps going on Fox and I knocked out Jorge Cota. You're going to get that Cota action. Cota already been stopped twice before you beat him, idiot. And he was stopped by Lubin. He was stopped by Lubin, the guy that you stopped in the first round. So you knocking him out isn't no grandiose good thing. You know what was unprecedented? What was unprecedented was when Jared Hurd stopped Austin Trout. Cotto couldn't stop Trout. Canelo couldn't stop Trout. Laura couldn't stop Trout. And both Charlo brothers couldn't stop Trout. But Hurd got the job done. Jermell Charlo is extremely overrated. And believe you me, in my opinion, Harrison is still going to dog him because he does not know how to fight against movers. And when he fights solid competition, Gabe Rosado, Austin Trout, Harrison, he literally doesn't even come close to knocking out top competition. And these are B-level, C-level fighters. So, in my opinion, Harrison's going to do the same thing to him again.
Well, it's you made some very good points there. I didn't appreciate that you were bath-mouthing Ginger because we were just talking about how good it is. But you know what? You make a lot of good points in there. But just to clarify something, so you concur with Julian Williams, Abner Maris, and all those other names you mentioned that you thought Harrison won the first fight.
Definitely, because if you look at it, okay, Harrison controlled him with the jab. He made him miss a lot of big shots. he had him falling off balance. So, I mean, Charlo didn't really do anything in that fight. And another thing is, when Charlo rocked Harrison in the 12th round, because he did rock him when he hit him in the back of the head. Granted, it still was a lot of punch. I'll give him that. But when Charlo rocked him, okay, he slipped. He made him miss the punches. He gained his composure. And if you look at, like, the midway point to that round, Harrison started standing his ground. Whenever Harrison stands his ground, Charlo does not rush in. The thing with Harrison is, okay, granted, he was knocked out twice. I'll give y'all that. But if y'all look when he was knocked out from Willie Nelson and Jerry Hurd, he was overextending himself, like just punching and punching and punching and punching and punching. And they were hitting him up into the 9th round. He was taking those shots pretty well. Once fatigue set in, that's when he was susceptible. That's when he gets susceptible to getting knocked out. So I think if he paces himself, if he fights in an erratic motion, bang, 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 and then takes some rounds off, the Floyd Mayweather route, the Terrence Crawford route, the Juan Manuel Marquez route, know when to pick your punches, he's going to easily beat Charlo, because Charlo is a basic fighter. He does not know how to fight fighters that move. Him or his brother, they don't know. Earl Spence, and I don't want to go on a tangential. I don't want to go on a tangential subject, but Derrick James fighters, they do not know what to do with fighters that move. When Porter fought Spence, Porter had shorter reach. I mean, he had a shorter reach, the shorter arms, but he was still able to close distance. And the same thing is going to happen with Tony Harrison tonight. And he said he's going to stand on his punches. Believe you me, if he stands on his punches like he said, Charlo is not going to be rushing in, because Harrison is no feather-fisted puncher.
Yeah, that's what I said in the beginning of the show, that if Charlo goes after him way too crazy, he might just get run into something. Gonzalo, you want to say something?
Sure. I was gonna say, but that's the thing, that although Harrison might be complicated because he's a mover, he suffers from the lack of having a good stamina. So if Charlo, even though he doesn't know how to like close the distance, just by the fact of he being aggressive and pushing Harrison to make him work, that'll allow Charlo to have a good chance of tiring out Harrison, because he has shown that in the past, to where he can capitalize off that. And another thing, the first fight, like you said, okay, well, Harrison was winning in your opinion, but it's not like he was like blowing this guy out of the water, or like doing too much where those little adjustments cannot be made by Charlo. He wasn't missing by a mile. That's what I'm trying to say. Like you said, he can't close the distance, but it wasn't like he was missing by a whole lot. He was missing by just barely a little bit, to where he can correct that timing and close that separation. He'll be effective. Yeah.
I would have to disrespectfully disagree. Charlo doesn't have, like, for instance, when Triple G and Canelo Alvarez fought in the second fight. Now, in my opinion, I think Canelo lost that fight, but Canelo fought a more aggressive fight, and he showed a lot of top-level attributes. I mean, Canelo's understanding in the inside and how to properly cut the ring off and throw the shot while he's cutting the ring off, that's top-level skill. Charlo does not have that skill. If you like, even when he fought Austin Trout, every time he got close, he overextends himself to the point where his body weight is literally like taking him off his feet. He does not have the educated feet to do that. Now, if he did have the educated feet of like a Canelo Alvarez or like a Terrence Crawford or a Lomachenko or a Gennady Golovkin 3 or 4 years ago, then I would definitely agree with you. But his footwork is too clumsy for him to even get in striking distance. And you still got to understand that jab. If Harrison employs that jab tonight, there's no way Charlo's going to be able to get past that. That's just my opinion. But we'll definitely see. And if I'm wrong, I'll call in and I'll concede.
Well, listen, it's not a big deal if you're wrong, but I just wanted to say you should have been here last year. I don't know where you were last year when all those Charlo fans were here attacking us, saying that the Charlos were easily going to beat Golovkin and Canelo and that they were that much better than them. We could have used you a year ago to expound on all that. But also, I wanted to ask you real quick. Well, first, because we do have to move on, but I want your prediction. And also, do you think Tony Harrison's jab looks a little bit like Ike Cortez' jab?
Ah, come on.
Icorte?
Yeah.
Nah, nothing like that. Cause Icorte, he has a good jab, but Icorte was a consistent jabber. He could jab with consistency, and I just don't see the only person who jabbed that I could say is like real quickly who I could say is like that resembles a jab of Icorte would be like I would have to say Golovkin, because Golovkin has a heavy thudding jab, but he can literally maintain like throwing that jab for all 12 rounds. I don't see too many fighters outside of Golovkin and Kovalev being persistent with the jab, but it is a good jab, and I hope if he can be consistent with that jab, believe you me, guys, he's going to find him all night. But I appreciate y'all taking my call. I don't want to hold y'all up.
All right. Thank you for calling in, Dre. Very good points. Call back next time, or especially if we do a post-fight show. All right?
Okay, y'all brothers take it easy.
All right, you too, man. Thank you for calling in. All right, that was Dre saying a lot of things that we agree with in terms of Charlo's lack of ability of being an elite fighter. We'll see what happens tonight also. I think it's going to be a very intriguing fight because of all those factors that he mentioned. All right, let's go to another phone call. 585, you're on the air. 585.
Oh, God.
How you doing, Mr. BDA, I believe?
Oh, he got it right. How you doing, Vinny?
Wow.
Yes, I'm doing great. Since I got this prediction right, you can count me in for, future correct predictions. I am very excited, guys. Mr. Jermell Charlo is one of my favorite fighters in boxing, and I love his mean streak. We talk about Terrence Crawford has a mean streak. I mean, do you see Mr. Jermell Charlo? I want him to sweep everyone at 154. He's my favorite fighter at 154, guys.
All right. So who did you have winning the first fight, and who do you have winning the rematch?
Yes, I had Mr. Jermell Charlo winning the first fight clearly, and I believe he got robbed. And I was really, really mad after the fight.
You sound like a fucking retard.
So you thought he won the first fight. All right. So who do you have winning the second?
Yes, I did.
All right. So who do you have winning the rematch then?
Yes, I have Mr. Jermell Charlo. This time it's going to be by knockout. I have a feeling he's going to be much more aggressive. Mr. Harrison tends to fade late in fights, and that is my calling card, guys. I have Jermell Charlo in 10 rounds in devastating fashion to send a message to everyone at 154. Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and one more thing, Mr. BDA.
Sure.
Yes, this is for all my Mexican fans out there in Phoenix from last night. I feel sorry for you guys. That was an embarrassing performance from Mr. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Senior should disown his son and just call him white from now on because he's not a real Mexican. People get broken noses all the time, and once a quitter, always a quitter.
Yeah, how do you do it? How do you perform with a broken nose? Because it sounds like you got a busted up nose or something.
Yes, you just breathe out your mouth. There's ways you can fight. I actually fought with a broken nose. So you're talking to a guy with experience here, Mr. BDA.
I believe I am.
A warrior.
I certainly believe that. All right, Vinny, thank you for a lot for the call. And listen, the offer still stands. If you want me to take you under my wing and mentor you, the offer's still out there. All right.
Thank you, Mr. BDA. But I think Mr. Recognized is an actual top candidate for that position. If he's listening, you are the top candidate, Mr. Unrecognizable. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Vinny, keeping it short and sweet and giving us a good prediction there. Nice little contrast of calls, huh, Bucho? Dre with the great points, the great insight, and Vinny with
the
being
jokes.
Vinny. With the jokes, yeah. We got another phone call here.
Value. I enjoyed the comedic value he brings to the show. We have another call.
All right, let's go to 805. You're on the air. 805.
Hey, doctor's in the house.
Oh, is this Michael Stott?
I got a
Dr.
prescription.
Michael.
Vinny needs a prescription of reality. I got a
No,
whole
come
bottle
on.
for him. I'll even give it to him free charge.
Are you saying his reality check bounced? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's a little bit off there. I'm not a psychologist. I'm more of a, neurologist, I guess you can say. I study more the brain.
All right, you're sounding like Vinny a little bit now, but all right.
By the way, why was he saying that? Why was he just saying right now? I wasn't even going to call in about this, but I just noticed him saying that Chavez Jr. Might as well call himself white now. What the heck is that supposed to mean?
Well, because I suppose he's saying that he doesn't live up to the Mexican standard of, that Mexican stereotype of going out there, giving it your all, and taking punches in the chin just to give one back. That type of.
No, he's one of those guys that says whites cannot fight.
Maybe it's because he was wearing the blonde hair.
Well, that wasn't even blonde hair. That was white and blue, right?
Speaking of stereotypes, isn't assuming that all Mexicans are brown a stereotype?
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Good point.
Yeah, does Vinny know that there are white, kind of skin or European majority Mexicans, right?
I think Vinny lives in his car.
There's actually black Mexicans.
I think Vinny lives in his car and he seldom ventures out of it, so I don't think he's seen much of the world outside of his Toyota. But Michael, what about the fight, the Harrison Charlo fight? What's your prediction for that one?
My prediction here: get your popcorn ready because I don't normally get pleasure out of seeing men cry, but I will have pleasure out of watching this guy cry when he hears the decision that he lost again. This guy's going to cry like a spoiled, a rich child or something.
All right, now wait a minute. That type of talk.
Get his toy,
family show.
It's a family show. I don't know how to describe it. He's just going to be crying like a little kid,
It's interesting, Bucho. Now we got two, well, not back-to-back calls, but two calls where people feel that Harrison is going to win this fight. Now, I understand, Bucho, that you read a couple of comments from the internet. We'll get to that later to try to get a pulse on who people think is going to win this fight. Try to get a little poll going. But so, Michael, you believe Harrison is going to win this fight again? Do you see it as a clear win for him, or is it going to be a close fight? What do you expect?
I think it'll be somewhat close, and that's why you're going to get a lot of crying from the Charlos and their fans because they're going to cry robbery again. And it's probably going to be a close one, but he's probably not going to do enough to retain he lost the title, right?
Right.
He's not going to get it back, I don't think, and I think he's going to throw a tantrum when he doesn't get it back.
I don't think the Charlos have that many fans.
They might. I mean, since he's kind of he's more popular. I think PBC might give him I don't know if they'll nod to the judges or something and they'll fucking give him the fight. But
hey, by the way, corruption in boxing.
I don't know. I just have a prediction this guy's gonna lose and just cry about it.
Probably, yeah. I think we're gonna see some crying. From both guys, maybe. By the way, corruption in boxing is saying Dr. Stott is keen to administer a cavity search to Ryan Garcia.
I haven't got the call yet, but anytime, if he's listening, we could set up an appointment.
One never knows when the homosexual is about. He may appear normal, and it may be too late when you discover he is mentally ill.
Whoa. Who's playing that? All right, listen. All right, so Michael, that was very disturbing what you just said, but I gotta tell you, I'm a big Ryan Garcia fan, but not that big a fan that I'll stick my fist up his ass. But listen, the point is,
someone's got to do it. You know what I mean?
No.
Got to be someone's got to step it up.
De La Hoya already did it. So.
Oh, come on! Listen, we're not gonna go there. We're trying to get De La Hoya on the show, by the way. All right, Michael. Anything else you want to say?
That's why he's not. Hey,
can't wait to be on.
That's why he's not calling me, isn't he? He's calling De La Hoya.
Yeah, probably.
Anything else about that? I said, hey, are you talking to Oscar more than you're talking to me? He was trying to make it sound like it wasn't like that, But anyways.
That's what this show is turning into. Michael, we got to go, man.
Yeah.
But, all right, so we got you down for the prediction.
You guys are ending the show?
No, we're not ending the show. But we got your prediction down. You're saying Charlo is going to lose and he's going to cry. So we got that down.
2 predictions.
Yeah, 2 predictions. All right, Michael, thank you for calling in.
Later?
Yeah, you can. Well, we're still on the air. You can catch it. We're not ending the show, by the way. So call in next if we're still on.
After the fight, though.
Call back later if you want.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Well, listen, unless there's another riot and something exceptional happens, we might do a show after the fight. But usually after the fight, we're too tired or engines aren't running properly. So, I mean, we'll see. All right?
All right, I'll make some phone calls and make some crazy shit happen. All right.
Yeah, make your phone calls. All right. Get on the horn with those ex-Muslims. What?
Can we tackle on the question? Somebody wants to say something.
Yeah, I heard somebody wants to say something.
Yeah.
I think he cut off. Anyway, I didn't hang up on him, by the way.
Anyways, can we tackle the question? What can happen or what will happen if Charlo loses this fight?
Well, you guys talk about that. I'll be right back.
All right. Who's still in here? Gonzalo, you there?
Yeah.
So let's say also people in the chat, of course. If Charlo loses, Jermell Charlo loses, what's next? 2 losses against the same guy, man.
I thought you were talking about like since yesterday there was like a riot. That's what you meant. That if he loses in a close fight, that if he's gonna act out.
Nah.
Possibly.
That's only Arizona, and when it involves Chavez Jr. quitting or something like that. I don't think Charlo or Harrison will quit. So, but no, it's just interesting because I mean, yeah.
But if he loses controversially, don't you think he'll throw like a temper tantrum? Kind of like Zab Judah when he did against referee Jay Nady, or there's been incidences in the past where they've been crazy. But I don't know how this would play out.
So you do believe that Charlo is an emotional person?
Yeah, he's emotional. That's fair to say. But if he channels that anger, and he's been putting the work in the gym, he can win. Because the other guy got stamina issues. And like Dre was saying, like I agree with all the points he was making. He's like real knowledgeable. The caller.
Yeah.
Dre. But it's not like he was missing by like a whole lot. And he was using examples, talking about other fighters that, that Charlo's horrible at closing the distance. Well, these guys fought the first time, and that fight wasn't that far apart. It was a close fight. So those adjustments can be made. And I think that the fact that Harrison doesn't have that good of a gas tank, if Charlo pressures him, he's going to make him tire out. But if he allows him to fight at his own pace,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I said earlier. It's true. That guy has issues, stamina issues. He can exploit that. But he needs to make Harrison tire. He needs to tire him. If they're just looking at each other and nothing's really happening, and then Harrison still runs with his jab, it's gonna be the same outcome. It could be the same outcome. So yeah, it's up to Charlo basically. I guess that's what we agree with, no? It's up to Charlo to make a different fight.
But yeah, basically because like when Dre was referring, he claimed close the distance. Well, if you're gonna try to box the boxer, well, yeah, that guy might always have the upper hand on you. But if you pressure him, pressure as like in a pressure fighter, and then let's say you do get outboxed, but then you could have the advantage in the second part of the fight. When the other guy starts tiring out, then you can pounce on his ass.
Can he really fight like that, Charlo?
Well, he's got to be aggressive, because if you're going to be aggressive, might as well pressure the guy, because you don't want to stay to where the guy's going to counter you. You don't want to stay at the edge of his punches. You want to, if you're going to be aggressive, might as well be aggressive and smother the guy, where the guy can't be comfortably. So he can counter you comfortably. If you're going to allow the guy to counter you because you're like right at the edge of his wheelhouse. Yeah, the guy's taller, he's longer. Harrison's he's gonna jab him. He's gonna counter him with right hands. But it's just on how Harrison Charlo applies the pressure.
Can I say something? I agree with everything you guys are saying about that, because that's what we were talking about in the beginning. Now, that there's a lot that I agreed with Dre. I should have kept him on the line instead of going over to Vinny. But a couple of things I disagree with. Yeah, it's true about Charlo though. He doesn't have the best foot movement compared to Canelo. He's lower on the boxing IQ scale, but despite all that, I actually thought he won the first fight against Harrison. So, like Butch was saying, he can actually make a couple of little adjustments, and he should come out on top on here. But that's the question. What should his ratio of aggressiveness be? Because if it's a little bit over the limit, he could get caught with something. I mean, that's
he gets a little crazy.
Yeah, but that's partly
stuff straight. Allows the right hand to land on his fucking chin.
But that's partly the reason why he respected Harrison, because he did catch a couple of right hands in the beginning, and that's what kept him honest. So I don't expect him to rush or bull rush Harrison right away. I think you guys, especially Gonzalo, he makes a great point. He doesn't have to go in there and fight like Brandon Rios, but put a little more pressure, mental pressure, just not let him rest. Always stay in front of him, maybe out of range, but always come right back in range and tire him out, because we know Harrison, he might be a little jittery himself, and that's what tires him out.
Have you noticed sometimes when Charlo really put on the pressure and Harrison was on the back foot, his legs get tangled up and shit?
Exactly, yeah.
He kind of starts panicking. When he takes big steps back, he kind of like panics a bit and he's like all over the place. Maybe he can try and do that. Yeah, go ahead.
That's maybe how he twisted his ankle in sparring, training for that type of fight. Yeah.
Maybe that's true. I mean, if he's doing it in a fight, he's probably doing it in sparring as well.
He needs to stay his ground. Stay, don't back up that much.
But you know what? That's the thing, though, now, because we're talking about what Charlo has to do to win the fight. Harrison, I think Dre hit a nail on the head. That jab. Now, the reason why I mentioned the I-Quartet jab is because I'm not saying he's as consistent or as hard with that jab, but it's a very straight jab that he doesn't telegraph. That's what it reminds me. That's why it reminded me of I-Quartet, because I-Quartet didn't telegraph the jab either, which is partly the reason why he was so successful with it. So he does need to throw that a little bit more, but also make sure to always keep that shoulder or that chin tucked into his shoulder and not just throw at the same pace, because Charlo was countering him over that jab with the right hand. So he's going to have to mix it up himself too.
How does Charlo neutralize that jab?
Well, the best way to neutralize a jab that people seldom go for, hit the body. Everybody's always talking about the right hand or the overhand right. If a guy throws a jab, dip to your left and dig a couple of shots to the body, man. Yeah. I mean, and then you can start mixing in the right hand.
Exactly. Yeah, he won't know what the hell's happening. What's coming up next?
That's what it reminded me of real quickly, Juan Manuel Marquez when he fought Smoke Harrison. Remember Derek? What was his name? Derek
Gainer.
Derek Smoke Gainer. Yeah, Gainer. Yeah, what did I say? Garrison.
Harrison.
Yeah, no, Derek Smoke Gainer. That was the quintessential fighting scared from a fighter, and it was Gainer. He was moving a lot, barely throwing anything, but when he did throw something, Marcus was countering him all the time to the body. So I think that's Charlo can take the page out of Marcus a little bit from that play.
Well, it was mentioned in an interview or something. I mean, I don't know who said it, but Charlo is thinking of going to the body in this fight. So that's something he's going to be trying to do a little bit more.
Yeah, tire him out.
No, that also could be too. Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing to add to the ankle injury, one thing about when you roll your ankle, it's very easy to roll it again. This is from personal experience. I don't know if you guys have had that experience as well. Once you twist your ankle one time and you roll it, you can roll it very easily. And if you're fighting scared, like you guys are mentioning, if he backs up and he steps on that ankle where it's not as firm as it used to, it can very easily roll again.
Wait a minute. Are you saying once you twist your ankle, you're susceptible to again? There's nothing you can't reinforce that ankle or anything?
Well, how bad did he twist it?
Well, it's like I was glad in a way that I broke both my ankles at one point, because when I rolled it one time, it always kept rolling. But after I had surgery for like injury, my ankles, I can't even turn them or move them anymore. I can't roll them. So in a way, like, dude, when you twist an ankle and that those tendons and those muscles around that ankle get messed up, it's not the same. It's not as strong. You're always going to roll it again very easily.
Okay.
Well, hopefully you're wrong, because I twisted my ankle twice last year and the year before that. So hopefully
Yeah,
it's
me too.
not.
Playing soccer a long time ago.
Yeah, you got now. Gonzalez got me worried, man. But no, seriously, he does. I'm not even kidding. But the point is, getting back to that. So yeah, I don't think he didn't hurt the ankle in the fight though. So there is that hope
No,
that
yeah.
But it's pretty fresh. It was in sparring,
In June,
supposedly.
yeah. The fight was scheduled, the rematch for June, I believe. Yeah, June, and it was postponed.
right. So
June the 23rd. June the 23rd.
yeah, and Charlo keeps bringing that up. He says that he was scared, that's why he
Oh
came
yeah.
up. But again, it's part of the mind games that these guys are playing here. It's interesting. Somebody, in terms of Charlo, though, he's been doing a lot of yapping too, a lot of barking. And I'm looking at some comments here from Ring Magazine, Ring TV, and one guy goes, Jermell doesn't really come across as a particularly pleasant guy here, does he? Perhaps he's already in fight mode. But if I was being interviewed by Cynthia, that's Cynthia Conte, by the way, I emphasize on the. Okay, come on, man, come on.
No, it
I
said
would,
Conte.
I would definitely have the grace to look at her. Taking my ass off her would probably be the problem. Now, well, that's you see a lot of fighters do that when they get interviewed by a woman. I think most of these guys are either shy or secretly, on the down low. But I don't see a lot of guys looking at the reporters in the face. Here's another comment. Guy goes, the first fight between these two was one of the biggest robberies I have ever seen in any fight. Did Harrison, with a straight face, actually think he won? The judges were all in the pocket. I'm not a big fan of the Charlos, but I think there are a couple of punks. But come on, Charlo will KO Harrison early in this rematch or will defeat him by punishing him for 12 rounds. I think that Charlo has a score to settle, if nothing else. So that's one point of view of one person thinking that it was a robbery, the first one. And I gotta tell you, obviously, we got differences of opinions here.
Well, why would the judges go against Charlo?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if anybody had the back, maybe he pissed Al Heyman off, and we don't know about it.
That's right.
Maybe he placed a bet.
No, I don't. I don't think he placed the bet, but it's certainly a very interesting fight now. Very interesting to see what's going to happen tonight. And I'm going to tell you my prediction right off the bat. I think Charlo's going to take this. I still think it's going to be a tentative affair. I don't expect it to be a slugfest, but I think Charlo gets the win this time. Or it could be. I can see it both ways. I can see Harrison coming in here, another close fight where a lot of people think Charlo won, and they give it to Harrison again. I don't know.
I don't see Harrison getting a decision. In the same, because he I mean, if Harrison wins a fight, if the fight goes to a decision, basically, Charlo is gonna win. Mark my words.
All right, so you're saying he's got the political backing,
of course,
which raises the question: why didn't he have it in the first fight?
Maybe, like you said, what's Al Heyman wanted to test this man. I want to see how he reacts. I want to see if he cries or not.
You know what? Or maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe he actually did deserve to lose the fight, and that's the way the judges saw it. I don't know. Listen,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. By the way, we
Travis,
got corruption.
It seems as you guys are assuming that judges are corrupt.
Well, I think it's a pretty good assumption.
Yes, I am.
We got corruption. Speaking of that, we got corruption in boxing on the line. Corruption, are you there?
Yes.
Hey, good to have you on board, man. I wanted to ask you right off the bat, man.
Studio.
Absolutely. Right off the bat, we're talking about Harrison Charlo and difference of opinions here. A lot of people are split on this fight. What do you think?
From a speculation purpose, it's a very interesting fight. But Tony Harrison is an 11-4 as the champion for a victory, irrespective of whether it's a knockout or whether it is a decision victory. And that is very wide odds, for a very capable champion as well. So clearly the casinos and all of the sports books, they appear to be confident that Charlo will avenge the loss, and it wasn't a controversial loss. When watching the fight in real time, it definitely did look like a close fight, but with the benefit of video analysis and slowing it down, Tony Harrison's defense is actually very good, and a lot of the punches were grazing. Some of them were that initially I had thought had landed flush, but they were grazing punches hitting the top of the shoulder, etc. So for clean, effective punches, Tony Harrison, I felt definitely won the first fight.
Huh.
And I thought it was an 8-4, even a 9 rounds to 3 fight. He's the better technical boxer. He's actually a beautiful boxer, very good. But a lot of his vulnerabilities that people speak about, they're generally calibrated to his fatigue. I don't think he has necessarily a bad chin. There are just some fighters whose reflexes, especially if they're those quick twitch athletic fighters, whose speed and their punching power is all correlated to their stamina. Sergey Kovalev is definitely one of those. Now, when the energy levels deplete, so do his punch arsenal, his movement, etc., his IQ, his reaction time. And Harrison is also one of them. Hence the reason why the Jared Herds and that were able to knock him out after he was dominating the fight. So Jermell Charlo's chance in this fight may be to try and take advantage of this defect, and it might be exacerbated because Harrison has had a long layoff, the 12 months, and we don't know whether that's going to impact him adversely or whether he's had a sufficient enough rest so that it doesn't impact him. It's that is the one crucial point in the fight.
You know what? That's a good point that you brought up. The layoff. We didn't even talk about that. Is it going to affect Harrison, especially since he's not the most active fighter in terms of activity inside the ring? He's not a high volume puncher. He's very economical as it is. So is that going to affect him even more? Yeah. Is the ring rust going to affect him?
Yeah, and he tends to be a front runner, and a lot of the work he was doing with, Jermell is a little bit one-dimensional and sort of cumbersome. Punches, he doesn't tend to oscillate the speed or the transition of his punches. It's like that double tap, right hand, left hook, very upright position as well. Doesn't change levels, doesn't really bend from the hips that often as well. So Harrison, I think, was able to read him very easily and realize that not only leading with the straight left hand, but he shortened up the left hook as well. The body punching and the counter punching, but he tended to do it moreover from a lead position. So he got a lot of his punches in first, and I think some hard punches as well initially. So he definitely does have power as well. So if he's able to sustain that, and I think he's going to need to do that, lead, start quickly, and if he tends to utilize his good footwork, as Dre pointed out before, and it was an excellent call, really good call. Then he can definitely neutralize a fighter who is definitely looking to throw punches and he doesn't position his feet properly, tends to get very square on. When you have, if you look at Deontay Wilder now, Wilder has a very wide stance, and he has a very sideways on profile. So that front leg actually acts as a deterrent. So any fighter who can get lead foot positioning, Wilder will lose. But with Charlo, it's actually the opposite. He tends to not set his feet, load up on these punches, and he gets actually very square. And that's how Harrison was able to counter him very easily. He saw the punches coming. So I think if Charlo executes that same thing, I think Harrison definitely does have the power, and I think if he invests in it, then he can knock him out as well.
Wow. Well, so there you have it, man. I mean, I agree with you. I think Harrison, if that's the main thing. If Charlo, like we've been saying, if he goes in there and he just maladjusts the ratio and he doesn't gauge that aggressiveness properly, he could run into something. Case in point, in that, what was it, the 5th round or 4th round? He got caught, he was out of position, and he got caught with the right hand and sort of got staggered back a little bit. That can happen again. He runs into that right hand, maybe even a left hook, short left hook. Oof, you never know. You never know. Corruption, the question everyone wants to know is, have you placed a bet for this fight? And if so, on who? Or on whom, I should say.
I took, Harrison at 11-4 BDA is an excellent. So that gives great value. Even if you put $50, €50, whatever, you're not going to. Your potential losses are very small, but your returns are good. So I took Harrison at 11-4. Charlo for the victory is 1-4 against. So you're not really going to make any money unless you do prop bets and go for maybe a Charlo knockout. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
But okay, I thought you said that. Then I misunderstood. I thought you said you were gonna bet on Harrison because the odds are delicious.
No, I already have. I already have at 11-4.
Oh, okay. So, Butcher, what about you, man? Is that sort of whetting your appetite a little bit for a bet?
Yeah, you have to put, like you said, $50. But I'm looking at the odds over here. Let's see. Where's how much is Charlo stoppage?
By the way, sorry, just before we continue, we got Michael Stott on the super chat. He just donated. Shout out to Michael Stott. And he says, the provocateurs are ready. I gave him PCP and they're going to start rioting soon. Oh, come on. Is he talking about his cells, his special cells that he wants another riot like last night? All right, shout out to Michael Stott. Thank you for the contribution. So, Butcher, you want your money, right?
I want my Tony Harrison stoppage 7.5. Harrison stoppage. That's. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Jermell Charlo via knockout. You're gonna get. You can actually make 13-8, Butcho. So there's definitely money to be made there as well. But what top level opposition has he knocked out? Charlo on points is actually a good 5-4. That's actually that's a possibility, and I think Al Heyman definitely sees greater financial upside in the Charlo twins because he can package them together, even though both of them are devoid of any personality. But clearly, I think the PBC is looking for, Jermell Charlo to, avenge the loss, become a champion, and then I don't know. Both of them can carry on annoying us.
Well, let's talk about that because I read a comment on Ring TV about a guy saying that he can't fathom how anybody could be a fan of his, and it's true. It's these guys are. And at best they're annoying, and at worst they are just completely dislikable. I want to read a couple of comments just to get a pulse on what the boxing world is saying, and I want to read, guys. Let us know what you think about the Charlos. I mean, are we making a big deal about their annoyance level, or you let us know? But between that, I'm going to read a couple of comments from Boxing 24. One guy goes, I'm baffled that the posters here are calling for a Charlo win by KO when we all know Jermell's feather-fisted. If an opponent gets through the first half of a fight, Charlo is going to be struggling, which is exactly what happened in the first fight. My guess is a close fight, just like the first one, and it comes down to who the judges like the look of. All right, so he's espousing the sentiment of a lot of people in the field that Jermell Charlo isn't really that big a puncher. Some other dude says, Jermell by KO, there might be low blows in this fight. I'm looking forward to the Ajagba fight. He can get ready to fight Wilder in 16 months. Well, there you have it. I mean, so that's people saying that one guy is mentioning the rabbit punches from the first fight. Tony lost to Nelson because of the violent shots that landed on the back of Harrison's neck and head. It is obvious that you did not watch the fight. Please watch the fight again. All right, so there's might be some excuses for that Harrison loss against Nelson, but
the thing with that one, BD, it was all about range because Nelson's a taller athlete. He didn't get into the correct range, so a lot of the punches, he was actually too short of a distance, so a lot of the punches were hitting Harrison at the back of the head. So yeah, poor distance managed, but inadvertently, it still led to Harrison's demise.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's those rabbit punches are no joke. And speaking of jokes, I mean, a lot of people seem to think also with the Charlos. I mean, listen, here's the thing with the Charlos: very emotional, very prone to screaming, very prone to taking things personally. Which, if you want to live a stress-free life, you gotta take it easy and not take things personal. And that's exactly the opposite of what the Charlos do. I mean, take a look at the Charlos. They had that rivalry. This Charlo that's fighting tonight, he had that rivalry with Eric Lubin. And even after the fight, he was a sore winner towards Eric Lubin. Then you had the other Charlo when he knocked out Julian Williams. Again, they had a little bit of a fit before the fight. And then afterwards, he didn't want to shake Julian Williams' hand, and the people started booing him. Now you got this Charlo, another rivalry, this time against Harrison. Then you had the other Charlo, the rivalry he had with Daniel Jacobs, where they actually had face to face. I mean, these guys, it seems like they just, and I know some people are going to say, hey, come on, man, if somebody says something about you, you got to step up to them. Yeah, if you live in the ghetto, this is professional boxing. These guys are professional athletes. They're not supposed to be acting this way. If they want to settle something, they can do it in the ring. But the type of behavior that the Charlos are showing right now, it's distasteful towards some people. That's all I'm saying here. I mean, I don't think I'm being overly extreme.
But BDA, Julian Williams was extremely condescending to Jermell before their fight. He was very dismissive of his boxing ability. He was very, very critical, outspoken, and Jermell was relatively subdued. So I felt in that fight he was looking to exact revenge. Hence, the reaction after the fight, in which he didn't want to share mutualities with him at all. So the anger he definitely administered during the fight, and I think Julian Williams was very humbled in that fight, and you can see his demeanor has totally changed after that. But the drug testing was a big issue as well. Jermell was refusing to do absolutely any. Julian was cited as maybe he had such a big physical difference in, but nothing.
Right.
That is a fair point.
No, listen, I understand if a guy talks or goes way over the line, and that you don't have to be necessarily good buddy with the guy, but you did knock him out. I'm talking about Charlo. You already got the only win that matters. You humble the guy, and you still want to carry it that way. That to me is representative of a guy who maybe doesn't really have that much confidence in himself. I don't know. But it's distasteful, is what I'm saying. That's why a lot of people aren't real fans of the Charlos, and the ones that are fans of that type of attitude, it might be saying more about them than it says about other people. By the way, we got Jimmy on the line. Jimmy, are you there?
What's up?
Oh,
what's up, brother?
Thank you for being on, man. Well, I tell you what we got going on. We're talking about Harrison, Charlo, the rematch that will be taking place tonight. Jimmy, we got people split here. On the one hand, you got Gonzalo, Bucho, myself, and a couple of other listeners and callers who believe that Charlo is the one that has a bit of an advantage going into this one, and all he has to do is make a couple of adjustments, and he should take the win. Then you got corruption in boxing. You have guys like Dre, Michael Stott. They believe that they're fairly confident that Harrison is going to take this. What do you think, Jimmy? I mean, is there a middle way to look at this thing, or how are you going to?
Well, strength-wise, without a doubt, Charlo hits harder. Harrison is a technically better fighter, like his footwork, his balance, but Charlo is going to go for the home run. He's going to try to knock him out, especially this bad blood, like I just heard you said, there's bad blood with everybody with these guys, but some dudes need that shit to keep their edge. I agree. After the fight, usually when you knock the dude out, that's your business was just dealt. You know what I mean? What's more to say? But Charlo, if Charlo wants to, let's look at the pragmatic angle. If he wants to start having eyes on him again and be the talk of anything other than pretty much fodder on Twitter, he needs to fucking beat Harrison. Because remember, he was supposed to beat him the first time too. I mean, he was like 350 odds on favorite above. And so in those situations, historically, you want to see him come in and take care of business and walk through him, or to not respect him, because remember, Harrison is not a hard puncher. What he relies on is, combination, or just if he catches you on the right, because he throws everything, tries to everything right. He's just a good technical fighter. But I think Charlo should throw caution to the wind and try to take him out. But he's going to have to do it in the first 4 rounds. I agree. I think he kind of gasses out quick. But what goes against him is his inactivity. And when you want to fucking headhunt people, your timing better be right, or you're going to look like a donkey.
Yeah, that's a that's a good point, man. That's a very good point. It behooves both guys to be as careful as they can be, but at the same time, they're gonna have to step it up, because neither guy really stepped it up all that much in the first fight.
That first fight sucked.
Yeah.
That first fight was boring as fuck. You
It
know what
was.
I mean? I'm just being straight up, man.
Yeah, it wasn't
like
a great
that,
fight.
Well,
Chess match.
Hopefully,
Tactical fight.
yeah, that's what Butch always tries to pretty it up. He says chess match, but that's the thing, though. I mean, these Charlo guys, I think they're pretty good. They're not quite on the level of what a Golovkin was a couple of years ago, or what Canelo is right now. My question is there room for improvement, and can they actually improve?
Well,
you
they
go,
have
brother.
to fight more. They got to fight more, and if they're with that Derek James guy, or they got different trainer now, because that guy's like one style of fighting, and when they're in trouble, when they're in a tough fight, the only thing he does different is the only thing he says is come forward. So I don't know. Maybe they need a new trainer because they are 30, like Jimmy said before. We all know this. But then go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I was just going to say there, when it comes to the Charlos, here's the thing. I just happened to go back to some moments, try to see, what was being talked about. The same shit is being said about the Charlos, and the Charlos are saying, like, last week on one of the, sites, Charlo calls out Canelo. I went back almost 2 years to the day after fight. Charlo calls out Canelo. It's been the same fucking, it's like Hammond said here on the fucking Wilder plan. You know what I mean? They want to go 40-0 without being household names in their own household, meaning like they're not taking on anybody. You know what I mean? And why is that? That makes me always say, when you see like both brothers, they never take on heavy hitters. Never. Why is that? Why don't they ever take on anybody who can actually crack? And they've been talking about all these guys. I mean, they're Twitter heroes. Don't get me wrong. If you follow their Twitter, you would think they would walk through everybody. I mean, they call out everybody after one of their big wins, attach a name to it, but then just take on, feather-fisted dudes, kind of. So why is that? Do they have weak jaws? Usually your management team and the people around you know that. And I'm just telling you right now, as an outsider, we don't know. So what we can do is go by their body of work. And when I look at somebody who fights fucking dudes out of the stands who can't throw, hit hard, tells me their jaw is suspect. Ooh, should have just kicked a cat across. Sorry, Kitty.
What man, Jimmy's got some issues, man. Some anger issues. Kicking cats.
But Jimmy, Jermell was the WBC interim or mandatory, what the fuck it was, for about 2 years, and the WBC never officially ordered the fight. So eventually, Jermell was looking for that. I don't think he would have declined the fight. I personally, I don't think he would have declined the fight. I think he would have contested that fight. He wanted to be the champion. He was calling out Canelo, but we don't know until negotiations actually commence. A lot of people.
But wasn't he was calling out Canelo over 2 years ago? My thing is this: the reason why my first opinion, he didn't take that to zone for one fight deal, because that kind of money and what they're offering, he wasn't going to be in charge of who he fights. I'm sure that was part of the deal. Listen, you take the fight, we're going to throw you, more money than you've ever seen, but we're going to match you with who we want. And they probably would have matched him against G. They probably would have matched him against Canelo. They would have matched him against someone big.
There was the
And
option of a
WBC
single.
were the one who fucked it up, Jimmy. That they introduced the franchise and gave him the WBC belt without even. They could have just settled the matter, and it would have been better for boxing, because we would have seen that fight and said, "Look, we're ordering the fight, but we know they've the WBC, because they realized the segregation between the television networks. So they said, here's our opportunity for greater market share in terms of revenue. We'll just make a champion in this side of the equation and a champion in that side of the equation, so they can carry on fighting in-house fighters, and we'll take, the sanctioning fees both from the PBC side and from, the zone side. So they
basically double dipping, right?
Yeah.
And of course, when he only fights, if he fights PBC fighters, Heyman gets a double. He gets paid on. He gets 15% of everybody's purse. So obviously, it's beneficial to have Heyman use all PBC fighters. The more PBC fighters he has, the more money he makes.
That's a good point because.
Plus the WBC realize that the PBC model is now going towards pay-per-view as well. So in the course of making Jermell Charlo the WBC champion, now realistically Al Heyman has another viable fighter if you can obviously build him up as well, to say that, look, it's easier to sell it to the general public, the WBC middleweight champion on pay-per-view as well. So clearly there is an underlying financial relationship between, the WBC and Al Heyman in terms of going forward in the pay-per-view model, because they know that sanctioning fees are obviously calibrated on the revenue a fight makes, and hence a fight on pay-per-view will make more money than on standard Fox or whatever else. So this is definitely, corruption in the higher sense in boxing.
Can the PBC build Jermell Charlo up? Can they?
Well, his brother just pulled 275,000 peak on Showtime. You know what I mean? I mean, that's not good.
Exactly.
That place was empty too. The fucking place was literally, they only could fill it up to halfway up to the first bowl. And
how about Demetrius Andrade? Oh wait, he doesn't want to fight Demetrius. What are his options?
Jermell Charlo is going to be fighting Chris Eubank Jr. next time. I think that fight is in the process of being finalized or whatever. I think contracts have already been.
Well, they get a couple of options.
Oh boy!
You know what? They have a couple of options with the middleweight Charlo. They could put him in there against Chris Eubank Jr., which wouldn't be a bad fight, but of course it's nowhere near a Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders, or Andrade fight. They could also try putting him up against Derevyanchenko, because I do believe he was in the crowd during the Charlo Hogan fight. So he's got a couple
why
of
hasn't that
options.
fight been made? He's in the PBC, for Christ's sakes. Why the fuck hasn't that fight been made? Why is I mean, that's would have been all these years. Why hasn't he fought Derevyanchenko?
And it would be a
That's
great
right.
move. It would be a great move because there's some people that believe Derevyanchenko beat Golovkin. So if Charlo can beat Derevyanchenko decisively,
That's more of a reason why you ain't gonna see Charlo fight him. Hey, did you guys see? It came out in the last 24 hours that Sean Porter's and his father reached out to Crawford's people, took the first step to make that fight.
Yeah.
I said last week was gonna happen.
You predicted it.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of somebody. Well, I didn't predict it. I'm not gonna lie, man. Somebody told me. Somebody told me to DM. Hey, I said I just basically DM'd somebody in the business. Said anything coming up? He goes, I just talked to a certain person. Said they're gonna. So yeah, somebody talked to the Porters. That's how I knew. But yeah, still fucking. They reached out. So the fact that they reached out, it's going to happen. Porters are smart. Listen, Kenny Porter knows the PBC. He doesn't buy into all that whole fucking. He's like, he knows his son's been. His son, think about it, of all the fighters, he's been placed the toughest. He's taken on every one of their fucking welterweights. You know what I mean? I'm not always a fan of his style, but that motherfucker ducks nobody. And now that he knows he's going to he's looking at Spencer Thurmel. Well, you ain't going to take this shit? Fuck you then. I'm going to go get paid. This is going to be the more money than he's ever made in his life, and he knows it. So good for him and good for his dad.
Yeah, and he's been fucked over on the cards more than once. I think the Furman fight he won. And I don't give a fuck who says what or how to score a fight. And Errol Spence did not beat Sean Porter. I'm sorry. Because these motherfuckers can't differentiate between legal blows and illegal punches. So, low blows are legal punches. I shouldn't count them. You shouldn't count them, and nor should the judges. So if you deduct all those illegal blows, Sean Porter clearly won that fight. I'm sorry.
Well, now that can I just tell real quick before I lose my mindset? It's relevant to that. Also, the reason why that all of a sudden the Porters were very up on that Remember how I told you they're waiting to hear budgets, who's fighting where? Kenny's one of the few people like Porter. He doesn't fuck around. He'll call like within days, week after a fight. What's up? What do you got planned for my son? That time he was dicked around for a year and was put on Facebook. Infuriated the old man. Like blood inside of his mouth. He was biting his inside of his mouth so much. He's like, my son fighting on Facebook. What? It was an insult. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. But so they're right up on it. And when they heard, I mean, he sees the tea leaves, man. He sees what's going on with Showtime. He knows that Fox isn't going to infuse any more cash. So they're waiting on Showtime. And he knows who's Al's favorite guys. And so I was told that he called in, said, what's up? You know, what do you got planned for my son? What type of money? They probably said, oh, we're going to have him fight maybe, I don't know, Granados. Who knows? Oh, yeah, I guess he already fought him. Somewhere along those lines, probably offer him $700,000. And his father said, or I could go make fucking $5 or $6 million fighting Crawford.
Oh.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
But so what's the contractual situation between Porter and the PBC?
Well, obviously, he has the ability to reach out. Whether he's breaking contract, I don't know. I would imagine. I mean, one thing Heyman is, man, like I said, can't stand him for boxing, but he's a smart prick, without a doubt. And I'm sure he's got. I heard. Well, I was always told every fight they fight at a certain point adds time to their. You know what I mean? He hasn't worked out that way. Who knows? Maybe before he got to that last fight, and he said, "I'll continue to fight for you, but I want that option where I can go outside and fight out of the promotional." But either way, it's a kick in the nuts to the fucking whole, because the PBC has been trying to put up a wall. They've wanted to try to keep everything in house. If he does make this fight, it puts all the other fucking welterweights on blast, and all the other PBC guys hiding behind Heyman on blast. Like, what are you gonna do now?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
from
a
my
good point.
understanding, I mean, I worked on boxing contracts in London like 20 years ago, but the PBC ones are slightly different in their terms agreement. It's based on monetary threshold. So if Al Heyman says to a fighter, look, if your earnings reaches say $6 million in 2 or 3 fights, then that contract is automatically extended by 2 years, irrespective of what, and the fighter doesn't have any exit clause out of that contract.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
So that's the way it
insane,
works. So they all set a threshold and say, look, Jermell, 3 fights, whatever. If your earnings are 10 million, so we'll throw in 1 pay-per-view as well, then there is an automatic extension by 2 years. So it's not that the fighter or his lawyer after that 3rd fight can say, look, the 10 million, we did 12 million, so we want greater maximum threshold. I don't think they don't even have the power to exercise that right.
That is insane, man. That is absolutely insane.
So it's a very punitive sort of financial punitive.
Well, listen, hopefully we get that fight, man. Hopefully we get a good fight happening, because it's about time, like Sean Porter, he deserves to get in there with Crawford, and Crawford deserves at this point to fight somebody that he's not going to be a substantial favorite over on paper. That's the other thing with the Sean Porter and the Spence fight. Man, we took some crap from, well, not a lot of crap, but there were all these people coming in the chat, people that we'd never seen before and we haven't seen since, were coming in telling us that Errol Spence was going to ice Sean Porter. And I went on several YouTube channels and I would read the comments or see the people doing the broadcast on their YouTube channel saying that Errol Spence was going to ice him, going to put him to sleep.
Kill him.
And I'm thinking, since when did have they ever seen Sean Porter fight? I didn't get it. And now that Sean Porter gave him hell in that fight, I don't know. I don't understand what the excuse. Now they're saying, well, what'd you expect? Sean Porter was tough. Well, why weren't those people saying that? Anyway, just something to throw out there. Also, I don't want to turn this into the BBC episode, but one thing that also angers me, now that we're nearing the end of the year and we're looking back at what a good year it was for boxing, Julian Williams put on the performance of a lifetime against Jarrett Hurd. It was my favorite performance and the best upset. I think it was better than what Luis did against Joshua. And what has Julian Williams done since? Basically, they killed his momentum. I mean, this is a great win on TV. And we haven't heard anything about Julian Williams. No big fight, no follow-up, no nothing. Is that because
They
they're out
were
of money?
supposed to. They were
There's
supposed
no
to have
money.
a rematch, but Jared Hurd uh, realized that under sort of VADA drug testing, he's not going to make 154 pounds, so he's relinquished the right for a rematch, and he's opted to go to middleweight 160 pounds. So that's wasted Julian Williams's sort of 3-4 months that momentum.
Yeah, because some people were speculating that because he pissed all over the PBC's plans, which was to make Hurd versus Charlo, or the winner of Charlo Harrison. Is there any truth to that, or is it just like you said that it was Hurd who relinquished the title because he didn't want to do any VIDA testing, and that's what ended up causing this momentum killer?
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure
think
how that went.
I think there's a perfect narrative to have a fight between, Julian Williams and the younger Charlo brother. Given that the older brother has already beaten him, so now the younger brother. So it's a fight that you can sell in that sort of trilogic between the three parties.
Right. And here's something somebody just said, reiterated or added to my point. The Bronze Plumber in the chat room says Spence beat Brook and then took a year off. Same advisor. Absolutely. That was another momentum killer. That was one of the best wins. That was a great performance by Errol Spence, going abroad, fighting in the other guy's hometown, a seasoned fighter. And he goes in there against him. And what happens? He doesn't fight for a year. And then when he does come back, he takes on a Mexican who might not undefeated, but had beaten no one. I think
He fights
there
him
was
at
only
Coney
one.
Island.
He was what?
Didn't he fight him in Coney Island too? Didn't he
No,
have
no,
a
he
fight?
fought him. He fought him in Texas. In Texas.
Oh, okay, guys. Sorry, yeah. But go down the PBC history, BDA. Every single big fucking good win has been followed by nothing. He sets no angles. There's no, there's nothing to fight for. You know what I mean? They're not fighting for anything. There's nothing. They're not setting up momentum. That's how you set up the big pay-per-views. It's just he doesn't know how to promote. He doesn't care. It's not what he's about.
So that's the
And
question.
the thing is as well, Jimmy, is that Al Heyman gave Errol Spence no incentive as well, because he just basically said to him, for that mandatory in Texas, you can have $3 or $4 million against a nobody. So you're going to kill any sort of expectations of momentum. He realizes he's going to get an astronomical amount of money to fight against an unknown mandatory who had a good record, but nobody really knew anything about him against top level competition in the US.
Hey, how much did Spence get against Porter?
8 million, I think.
All right, let me look it up.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it was 6 million minimum.
He had guaranteed purses in some fights. I don't know if he had guaranteed purses with those guys, but I think it was 8 million. Sounds about right.
Jeez.
I don't know who he's going to fight now that's going to bring in that kind of... It's just never good in your career as a pro in any sport to go backwards in paydays. Just sets bad precedent. And who's he going to fight next? Especially now that fight... What sucks, because I like Porter. He's one of my favorite PBC fighters, too, but I like Crawford better. He's... I'm high on Crawford only because I just like his attitude. He's a real fighter. He wants to fight. I don't rate him as high as other people. It's skill-wise, other than the way he switches from southpaw.
Yeah, Jimmy. But that's what I wanted to say. Does Porter, like you mentioned, and I'm gonna bring this two together. Like Davidyachenko, you mentioned Porter. Do they deserve title shots back to back? Because I know Davidyachenko had 2 already. Now this would be a 3rd for him. Porter as well. He's been in these title opportunity shots. He's lost controversial decisions, but does he deserve to get another one back to back?
I believe so because they were controversial. If a guy lays down, I'm not talking even like as bad as Chavez, but this is a dude. Has anybody ever fucking got more out of his last name than that fucking douche? Seriously.
Jimmy,
my God, but anyway, I do believe when you lay it all on the line, when you fight the way Davidyachenko did against G, I mean, win or loss, does it really matter? I mean, after a fight like that, after you put your heart and soul, because at the end of the day, promoters don't give a fuck. Because when you fight and you fight like that, people are going to want to watch you fight again. Yeah, Porter lost against Spence, but when a lot of people think he won, and the fact that he did so well doesn't tarnish. It just shakes. He's not the champion, so you take away that angle, he would have made more money. But he's still. It'll be his biggest win if Crawford beats him. Never mind, stops him. If he stops him, that would really set precedent for Crawford. But
so you give him another title opportunity for a different section and body for another belt.
Yeah, but
yeah, if I was the sanctioning body, of course, because as being charged of sanctioning bodies, what you want to do is you want to get the best fight possible. And if he's going to bring in the most numbers, the most views, the money, at the end of the day, it's all about money. They don't care about hurting fighters' feelings or who think they got what. It's about who's going to make them the most money, because they can charge. The bigger the fight, the more they charge the sanctioning fees. Like remember, Canelo pays like $500,000 in sanctioning fee money to every time he fights to WBC, to the belt.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So a guy that lost real quick, he fought for one title. Can he be placed for a mandatory coming off a loss for that title, for another title in a different section body?
If they rate them, they have they rate their fighters. It's not always wins losses. They'll rate by ability too, or the fight that was just put on. And again, he might have lost on paper to Spence, but at the end of the night, I wouldn't really have called him a loser. You know what I mean? And that's probably the why they're looking at it.
Hey,
and again, who else could Crawford fight right now? Right? You got to admit, right? Other than if it's not Porter, who else could it be?
That's
about as big a name you could get a welterweight.
He could fight at Kell Brook. They've been brewing about that for a while, but I don't know. Why would you guys start corruption? You were gonna say something?
Yeah, but Gonzalo, there's two ways of looking at it. Like you're seeing it from the perspective of wins and losses and the fighter losing. We've seen the situation with Luke Campbell as well, losing against Vasily. Now Eddie Hearn has used his powers of influence, clearly brown paper bags, Vaseline, and he's got Luke Campbell in the media championship fight for a vacant belt, and you can argue he lost the fight. It doesn't matter whether he put up an admirable sort of showing, but he lost the fight 10 rounds to 2, 11 rounds to 1. So from that sense of fairness, yeah, he shouldn't get another title shot. But the problem with the Crawford side is, I think name recognition and the quality of the fighter takes precedence over whether a fighter has lost or not. Because the in-house fights that Bob Arum has done for Terence Crawford, the level of frustration that people are feeling now, it's almost reached a point of a threshold now. People are getting sick of the poor sort of level of opposition he's had over and over again. So now clearly they want name recognitions, they want quality fighters. So it doesn't matter that Sean Porter is PBC or whether he lost his last fight. He's a former world champion, a fighter who will fight everyone, and somebody who actually should have a lot better record than what his record is currently speaking. So I think that's why a lot of people are pushing for that fight.
Well put, brother. Exactly. Name recognition. That's exactly what it is. They want name recognition because Crawford was on internet. He sees what people say, and he knows he needs those names. He needs the big fights to, cement whatever legacy he wants to establish. So, yeah. But,
and that fight would really say a lot, Jimmy, you guys, because look, if Crawford went life and death with these 4 fights, I think he lost 3 against what the names of guys that he fought. Yeah, if Terence Crawford's able to beat Porter decisively, that's gonna tell a lot about Crawford with 1 fight. Yeah.
Plus,
exactly, because he's gone life and death with everybody. Nobody's ever really beaten Sean Porter. They just outbox him. You know what I mean?
Plus, it builds up. If Errol Spence ever does recover, it builds up that fight beautifully, given that Errol Spence, has fought Sean Porter. So if Terence Crawford prevails, then they can sell the Errol Spence and Terence Crawford fight, because they've got to. Then they have a common opponent as well. They can, do their comparisons and sort of build it up.
Yeah, it's the best fight. It's the best fight that Crawford can get right now, because if he takes on Kell Brook is I don't think he's fought in over a year when he fought that stripper. And then of course you factor in that he got beat up against Spence not that long ago. So yeah, Porter fight would certainly give Terence Crawford some much needed credibility because lately he's a lot of people have been shitting on his resume. Now I want to clarify something. Errol Spence, when he fought Sean Porter, apparently they both got $2 million, which seems weird that they would get the same amount. And in another article, I read that Errol Spence got $3 million against Mikey Garcia. So I don't know if they're getting those fights were pay-per-view. So I don't know if Errol Spence got some back-end points or whatever. But that sounds about right. $3 million, $2 million.
Well, Porter was champion too, wasn't he? When he held the belt when he took on Porter, right? Wasn't he? I mean, Spence wasn't he the WBC belt holder at the time?
I don't follow the belt, so I don't.
But I think that would dictate maybe the money.
Yeah, he was a unified champion. He had beat Ugas.
Right. Now, speaking of Errol Spence, there's a big rumor or the big news coming in is that tonight on Fox Sports, there's going to be an exclusive interview with Errol Spence. Now, from what I'm reading, I can't see if it's going to be done live in between fights or if it's pre-recorded. There's a lot of speculation here. Some people think that he's going to be talking in there. Some people think that he's not going to show up. Some people think it's going to be a hologram. Some people think that his head is going to fall off during the interview. What do you guys think? I mean, this is a pretty bizarre situation. Are we going to get anything out of this, or is this going to be a fluff piece to sort of mitigate the damage that's been done to his image? Anybody? What do you guys think?
What was the question again, BDA?
The question was whether this is going to be any. Are we going to get anything out of this interview, or is this a PR containment to repair the damage he's done to his image by driving drunk, speeding over the limit, and then jumping out of his car at 120 miles per hour?
Yeah, it's going to be BDA. Think about it, because the WBC are going to obviously put pressure. If you've just had Devin Haney, who's had to vacate his title and given a champion in recess, then obviously the sanctioning bodies are going to be looking at Errol Spence as well. I'm not sure. I think he'll have a WBC mandatory at some point soon, so they're going to need to have some sort of indication whether he's going to be viable enough to fight in the next few months until they announce obviously a mandatory for him. So you can see it's
sorry.
Go on, Jimmy.
Oh no, I didn't mean to tell you. See, I have a terrible echo, dude. Not an echo, but it's a delay. So I think I'm sorry. No, finish, brother.
No, I finished. You go on.
Okay, well, on the human side, right? I think it's egregious that fucking knucklehead, a father of two, hasn't come out with an apology at least, saying what I did was stupid. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be fucking driving shit-faced. I mean, because they charged him. Well, maybe it's because he hasn't been convicted yet, but I mean, I guess they charged him with a felony, so that aggravated DUI. So that means his blood level is pretty fucking high. But as a father too, I don't know. You think you would have, if you had a PR firm, they would have been saying you need to do some damage control. Being silent, what does that say? I don't know.
That's right. And every time he opens his mouth, the few little statements we got. The first one, I'm a savage, and the other calling another black man a coon. So has anybody ever spoken to this guy? I mean, you can't control him. He's a grown-ass man, but...
Great point.
Instead of apologize, he's calling people coons, fucking clown.
But now here's Gonzalo makes a great point. I mean, and Jimmy too. I mean, there's something to be said about decency. And instead of apologizing, he comes out and saying, "Oh, I'm a beast. I can't be stopped, baby." Well, he didn't actually say that, but he said that. What did he say? I'm a savage. Yeah. So, and then the only other statement we got was, I think, in the vicinity of the car crash, and it was from the PBC. It was a press release. So we haven't really heard from Errol Spence, and I gotta tell you, he just like the Charlos, he's not doing himself a great service here by conducting himself this way. And I think that what? Well, I gotta tell you, I think that's about it for me, because I'm looking at an article here. And it says that Bob Arum intimated that a couple of weeks ago. Remember that when he was doing the press for Crawford's fight, and he was saying that he had inside information that Spence is not going to be fighting anytime soon. Probably. Well, I mean, he just said that anytime soon. Some people believe that could also have to do with his legal issues, but also the fact that he might have sustained career-threatening injuries. So, guys, do you think we're gonna get something from this? And should we really care about Errol Spence now, based on the way he's conducting himself?
Okay. He's a deplorable, wretched animal. Fuck.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's really the corruption ain't holding back on that.
His boxing ability has already been exposed. They've built him up as some sort of a phenomenal and next sort of Marvin Hagler type of a figure, but he clearly not. Sean Porter was able to just neutralize his boxing ability. If people really do sort of micro-analyze the fight and see the way, Porter and people are very critical about his boxing skills, but Porter was able to neutralize his jab, fight him at short range. Errol never had, the counter right hooks that a southpaw has against. All of the fighters have been able to beat Porter with that counter right hand. He never had any of that.
Mm-hmm.
His boxing ability was so badly exposed, but they just keep exaggerating about the knockdown. Now, if I hit you in a soft area, with soft tissue where you've got no fortification 30 or 40 times, are you telling me it's not going to cause some sort of a detrimental impact later on after 20, 25 minutes of fighting?
Oh,
if
it
you haven't got
absolutely will.
internal bleeding at some point, of course you're going to be vulnerable for a knockdown as well, but Sean Porter, man, that motherfucker is made of steel because the amount of illegal blows, and not only that, but punches behind the ear and rabbit punches he took as well, and he's kept fighting. That's one mean motherfucker, I tell you.
Well, it's interesting. Prior to the Spence fight, we were always saying, most of us here on the panel on the show, we were saying, listen, Errol Spence is good, but let's hold back on the hyperbole, because a lot of people were saying, not here on this show, but I mean, people that would drift in and out in the chat room, Errol Spence can move up to, I don't know, if he fights Keith Thurman, Crawford, and Porter, for them it was just a formality. In their mind, he was going to wipe the floor with him. And some people were even saying that he was going to be able to knock out Canelo Alvarez at 160. So the hype was real with Errol Spence. People were going overboard. And we told people, listen, let's wait for the Porter fight. And by the way, ARP13 is saying, these guys are still talking about a fight that was months ago. Yeah, that's because you got it completely wrong, man. I still remember you. This is the guy that came in here and he was saying that Spence was going to wipe the floor with him. How did that go, ARP? And then he says, hate is a terrible thing. I think reality is a terrible thing for you, ARP. But anyway, we already know what you're about, so we're not going to spend too much time on you. But guys, what do you think? I mean, is Spence going to fall apart here? I mean, again, we're talking about how Porter sort of exposed him, and now he's got injuries and maybe a prison sentence. Things ain't looking good for Errol Spence.
How many tune-ups is he gonna have to take? That's gonna depend on the level of his injuries. But for sure, he's gonna have to have at least one tune-up. So this is gonna take a long time.
Yeah,
this comeback will take a while.
And if he's had plates and screws inserted, then his career could be over.
Yeah.
We only got, but I mean, people said, "Oh, no fractures or anything like that." There was only lacerations. But nobody tweeted out a hospital report. That's just what you're going to be told. I mean, obviously, people are going to lie to hide injuries. You're not going to say, "Oh, and he had a compound fracture of his left forearm," and things like that. They're going to hide that, and it would make sense. He's stayed out of he's not been seen. I mean, I guess they saw a picture of him or whatnot, but I mean, you can hide certain things underneath the big jacket. I don't know. Who knows? I'm just saying it would be wise for them not to release what injuries. But I just find it hard to believe that he would have got thrown out of the car at that speed, not got bucked up.
Well, listen, if he shows up in that interview, he starts drooling midway through, I think we're going to know he's got some serious problems. But if he can, I mean, I'm going to be waiting for the speech. I want to hear if there's any slurring, any stammering.
Yeah, and it could also be that, like, look, he's cutting weight. He's already started training, but then all of a sudden, he feels something like tweak in a muscle. Something happens amidst the training camp that comes out that's related to the accident. He could be feeling good right now, but once he gets the engine going, something might come out, when you start training and moving your muscles.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's gonna once he gets in the gym. First of all, I don't even know if he's clear to get in the gym. He's probably. I mean, he's obviously probably not even clear to spar. But training that would tell people a little bit, get a sense of where he's at. But I mean, I don't know. Look, he flew out of a car. That's what they're saying, by the way. By the way, you see the video. It's his car rolling all over the place, and you obviously see in the mugshot that he's got some injuries. But this whole thing is just way too bizarre for me, man. I don't know.
I haven't even seen the footage of the crash video. Not even seen it.
Really? Well, it's supposedly it's his car, and it's really rolling around pretty quickly. And I mean, that's the type of, if you're in a car that's rolling at that velocity or at that speed rather, it's I'm very surprised that he's alive right now. What's that?
It's gonna be a sentence.
Uh-huh.
Well, he was drunk, no?
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's the thing. I don't know if he was drunk though. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Sorry, Gonzalo, go ahead.
Oh yeah, he got charged. Ironically, I mentioned it to Jimmy. He said that he rolled his car right in front of a bar called the Knockout. You could see in the camera there's like ropes cordoning off the edge of the bar, parallel to the car as it's rolling down the footage.
Wow.
Illuminati.
The camera.
Illuminati.
All right, listen.
Hey, we got a phone call, man.
We got a phone call. All right. Hold on a second. All right, let's go to the phone lines. 419. You're on the air. 419. Oh, sorry. I got you on mute here. All right, go ahead. 419. Go ahead.
Hey, heck yeah, what's going on, Bucho? Hey, your name's Bucho, right?
No, this is Mr. BDA.
I'm Bucho.
Hey, heck yeah, BDA. Hey, calling in, hey, I like your show, man. Hey, you guys got a good show. You got, some good talk, but there's a couple things, I just called in to put on the other side,
Go ahead.
Changing the subject back to talking earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey,
go ahead.
Chavez fight, did you think they were going to stop that fight at the end of the 5th round? Did you call that out?
Well, he walked towards the corner shaking his head. As soon as he started shaking his head, I knew this guy's he's not gonna go on. He's gonna quit. And he did.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Yeah, kind of like that for me too. At the end of the round, I was like, man, what's up? But hey, just putting the talk out on that, there's two kinds of broken noses. There's a kind of broken nose where, it hurts. And then there's a kind of broken nose where you can't see. I never had a broken nose, but that's what they say, the boxers. Some of them, they can go, and the other ones, they can't.
So
to say, hey, he quit. Hey, man, he was fighting there, man, for his dad, and, imagine growing up like that. He didn't grow up like his dad, man. He grew up, how to say, privileged, but, hey, man, he has the heart of wanting to satisfy his dad, man.
I think so too, man. I think so too. But let's hold on. Let's rewind real quick. Let's rewind real quick, amigo, to because I want to get to the nose thing you said. I just want to get a couple of opinions on the panel, guys. Have you ever heard anything about that? Like an injury on the nose that's so severe or on the right place that it actually affects the vision?
Yeah, that everybody knows that.
Well, remember the broken nose Chicanito Hernandez suffered in his career? That was pretty bad.
Yeah, but that was that was shattered.
Hey, they can get pushed up in you and hit your brain, man. Hey, that's the only bad thing about boxing. Any other bone, you're good. Your cheek, your nose, man, your nose is in.
I mean, Anthony Joshua suffered a broken nose against Carlos Cam and fought the entire fight. So
yeah.
His claim was that he was swallowing many blood.
From the other side,
that was his claim.
Saying it, hey man, it had to be something like he couldn't see to go out there and
Yeah, but you know what?
Trapping,
Maybe he just quit.
Them first couple rounds were some good rounds. He was fighting. Jacobs was putting on his show. But so was Chavez. And then he just
Nah, but you know what, Vato? You know what, Vato? The thing is this: it's not the first time. It's not the first time, though. There's a precedent for Chavez quitting, and he did against Fonfara. So that's why I wasn't surprised. And also all the outside of the ring things. He doesn't show up in shape. He's juiced before. He's coming overweight. He's putting subpar performances. Like you said, he's not his father. He grew up differently.
Yeah,
he doesn't
that's
have the
it.
same.
Let's not. We're looking too much into it.
Yeah, and he was also signaling to the referee to take a point away from Daniel Jacobs way before he quit, like a round or two before.
He kept complaining.
He was complaining. Yeah, he was looking
the
to check
whole
out.
Nah.
Yeah, he complained, but he was scrapping too. You go look at that. He was going in on Jacobs. He was landing some punches. It ain't like he was moving around like not getting a hit, and then all of a sudden, bam! Everything just
Yeah, but as soon as he actually got hurt and hit, he quit. That's what happened.
That's it. Agreed.
Look, he performed well while it lasted, but the thing that took a lot of shine, even going in before the fight started, was the fact that he came in at 172.5. So it's kind of hard to give him credit any way you look at it.
He came in lazy. Hey,
he came in bigger. He was fighting a smaller guy.
He couldn't fight because on that night, in that stadium, it had to have been, broken nose. I don't think he could see.
I got a question for the caller. Do you know Robert Guerrero's father personally? You know Robert the Ghost Guerrero's father? Do you know him personally?
No.
Okay, just that asked.
Why would he?
Yeah, because he's Mexican. You think he knows everybody? What's the matter with you?
Hey, can I say something?
Was that, man?
Yeah.
Hey, but look, you don't know him either, right? That's a side of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, all right, now let's get on to the next thing. Hey, how'd you like that Martinez fight?
Hey,
I didn't see
can I
the
say
Martinez.
something to the caller?
Oh, hold on. G Boogie caller. G Boogie wants to say something. You go ahead, G Boogie.
Hey, I got a question. Do you think that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. lost his huevos?
No.
I think that he wanted to satisfy his dad, and it had to be something real bad to where he couldn't. What you got?
Well, maybe, man. I mean, I tend to listen. Like I told you before, I think
Hey, it is. You said it, so maybe.
it was BDA. I said it.
Hey, did you know how's come? I wanted to know how's come Martinez wasn't fighting Edwards, man. Like how Eddie Hearn said when they used that instant replay. The next thing you know, they said, "Hey, we're gonna have you. We promise you an instant rematch." And then they stick him with the Gonzalez.
Charlie Edwards did not want the rematch. He didn't want that smoke with that kid.
Edwards, is he still
made an excuse and leaving up.
Fight Martinez?
Yeah, that was an excellent fight. That guy's a good fighter. That flyweight, Ray Martinez, very good.
Hey guys, I didn't see the fight. Just a quick synopsis. How did Chavez? Somebody said he quit on the stool in the 12th, and then somebody saying because of a broken nose.
No, he quit in the 5th. Broken nose. That's it.
Broken nose. Yeah. That's why he quit.
Well,
a broken nose.
That's what
Jimmy is some lame ass bullshit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Jimmy, he quit. Basically.
No, but he said that's the other thing. He said I heard him say in the corner, "Mi mano." He said, "Mi mano." Ya no puedo. So what the fuck he's saying? Is he saying it was the hand or the nose?
Hey, at the end of the fight, he looked Jacobs right in the eye, face to face, and said, "You headbutted me in the nose." I don't know, but that's what happened, man. But just putting that other side out there saying, "Hey, I ain't gonna mention his name," or, "Hey, man, is it because a boxer quit in the 5th round, or is it for the feelings of his dad?"
No, listen. I just think he's not made.
But all right, hey, Bucho, I'll let you go with that, man, because I gotta go.
Oh, you gotta stop calling me Bucho, man. It's PDA.
Hey.
It's Mr.
I'm
PDA.
Bucho. Well, anyways, take care, man. Thanks for the phone call. Take care.
All right, thanks for the for the phone call there.
Well, I'm gonna say para la raza, el mamón ese perdió las bolas de él.
He perdió las bolas. Sorry. Well, he did
didn't
lose.
have any balls.
He
We're
never
looking
had
too
any.
much into it. Cut the
Well,
call.
BDA, that's some weak ass, lame ass excuse. Naoya Inoue fought with a broken eye socket and a broken nose in the fight of the year for 10 fucking rounds,
Mm-hmm.
and this motherfucker
There's so
Yeah,
many
but-
boxers that have fought with like.
I
serious-
fought with a broken nose in the amateurs. I broke my nose the first minute of the first round, and I fought the fucking. You know what I mean? That's of all the bones to break. That's in the facial area. That's the easiest. You just don't blow your nose. Some guys will fucking. That's why they tell you never blow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because your eyes blow up.
Mhm.
Depend, air will get into your crevices and shit. But I didn't have that kind of a break. It broke where I ended up with a flatter nose, but I had it fixed later. But yeah, no, and
Look,
fuck, it hampers your breathing. That's it.
Here's my thing.
Yeah,
Here's my thing
fought-
about the
I
Chavez
fought
fight.
with a broken hand 3 times. I broke my left hand fighting 4 times, and fought each time in the ring with a broken hand as well. So,
But here's the
I fought
excuse.
with
Here's
an
the
arrow
thing
through
with-
my testicle.
Yeah, I got tased. I got tased, and I was able to get up after I got tased. That was like 2 years ago. Hey, look, there's the thing. There's a precedence for like Chavez Jr. He quit on the stool against Fonfara, and I think it's more of the fear
Yeah.
of exposing yourself, of getting knocked out. He knew that he was going to get knocked out eventually. That's why he quit against Fonfara, because he was going to get KO'd in the 12th round. Same here. He would have kept on fighting. He didn't want to get knocked out.
Guillermo Rigondio did the same. Nicholas Waters did the same. They were all on the verge of getting knocked out. So rather than suffer the indignation of getting knocked out, they just quit and manufacture an excuse or whatever.
Bravo.
Listen,
Yeah.
Can I just say something real quick, Jimmy? Because I want to reiterate, I hate criticizing fighters when they quit because sometimes there's good reasons. For example, when Israel Vasquez fought Rafael Marquez in the first fight, his nose wasn't just broken, it was shattered. Who else was it? Renato Hernandez, like Gonzalo mentioned, against Oscar De La Hoya back in '95, I believe. His nose was shattered. Now, in the moment, we don't know the extent of the injury, so I always try to give fighters the benefit of the doubt. But like I was saying, when you get a guy like Chavez, who has done this before, who has cut corners in training, and he's juiced, and he's come in and performed, or has shown subpar performances when he was supposed to run over smaller guys, I can't give him the benefit of the doubt.
BDA, what about the great Rocky Marciano? Can you remember the state of his nose? It was literally hanging off his face.
It was shattered.
Yeah, absolutely massive. And he still managed to not only fight on, but stop his opponent as well. So
It was broken in 7 places, wasn't it? He shattered that thing like a fucking chip in your palm.
Was that against
Yeah.
Archie Moore or against?
And the thing is, when some fighters quit, the nose is broken for several rounds, and then at some point they just I can't do it anymore. It seems like as soon as he got hit flush with a good shot by Jacobs, he immediately quit. It wasn't like this dragged on for 3 rounds where he kept complaining or saying, there's something wrong, but I'm going to continue. He immediately quit after the first Jacobs punch.
Almost like a rich kid pretending to be a boxer.
Yeah, he did.
Almost,
He did get caught. He did get caught with the good uppercut, and I think that 2 years off. And look, he stated that he's been in rehabs, and everybody knows that he's used drugs in the past. He was probably using a lot of cocaine to where that also damaged his nasal passages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said that.
Yeah, it can weaken your cartilage, but just do a couple of gaggers and you won't feel anything. That's probably what he was bummed out about. How am I going to now I'm going to have to start booting this shit.
Wait, what's a
Just look at Artie
gagger?
Lang.
What's a gagger?
Oh, doing lines, doing a fucking gag. Like, so big, so fat, you gag on it.
What a
Used to
great
call it, no pin, man. Give me a gagger.
Personally, I say thank you and much respect to Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. because he fulfilled all of my prophecies of him quitting on the stool. That's what I predicted. That's what I was expecting, and he won me a lot of money. So thank you. He stayed true to his
quitting
word.
on the
Oh, that was the thing. Yeah, Corruption said that on the Discord last night because I was reading the Discord right after, as soon as the fight ended, and man, people were going nuts in the Discord. They were saying Chavez is a pussy. He pulled his labia. That's why he had to quit. He's an F word. He deserves to get. Some people were saying that his father was going to beat him up in the locker room. I mean, it was just funny comments all around.
What about Heyman tweet? He tweeted that picture of going around with Julio's old man with his head in his palm. You know, wicked, right? Disgusting. He wrote, "When you wish abortions were retroactive."
Oh, come on. Now that's going too far. And by the way, we got John Gonzalez. Shout out to John, who just donated with the super chat. And he says, "Who on the panel has ever been knocked out?" I'll tell you what, I've never been knocked out cold, but I have been in a situation where you get hit over the head and you lose your balance and you start doing the Zab Judah dance. I've been in that situation.
I've been out on my feet. I didn't mean to stop on you there. No, I've been out on my feet. Dave Roy sparring, and this other kid had me fucking out on my feet too. Richie Collins, kid with a birthmark covering his whole face. That's why the kid hit so hard. He was always picked on. But yeah, but he was a middleweight, and I was a lightweight, and I was sparring him, and he fucking caught me. And I'll tell you, I didn't see nothing. I was like, he knew
Jimmy,
he could have fucking rocked me.
Jimmy, that's what Chavez Sr. should have done to Junior. Disfigured him as soon as he was born, so that way he would have grown up tough. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just not a fighter. He's never had. Listen, he's soft. He was raised with fucking pampered life, you know, butlers and shit. You know, they had maids making his bed. He's just a fucking kid who and you know, when it got every time in any fight, when it ever gets real, you know, other than, I mean, well, back in the day, he was in a couple of wars, but he just doesn't have the heart of a fighter, and he shows it over and over again.
Yeah.
By the way, we have a phone call. I think it's still there.
Yeah, is that somebody that called in before? Hold on.
No, I think it's Rasclot.
We got 510. You're on the air. 510.
What's up, everybody? Well, listen, man. Y'all know what I'm about to say, and I'm gonna tell the truth. And I think a lot of you guys, not you guys, but I'm talking about boxing fans in general, and boxing fans all over YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and any other social media you got. The problem is you guys are looking into Cesar Chavez Jr. and you guys are all stuck on what his father has done. What his father has done in his boxing career has nothing to do with what Cesar Chavez Jr. is doing. Cesar Chavez Jr. started to box because his dad put him in boxing because they was probably low on cash, running out of cash, and that's just that. The kid is not talented. He's not a good fighter. He lost to that dude that was in the boxing TV show, and they gave him the decision. We all knew back then that he was a bum. And so who even watches Cesar Chavez? Anybody who paid to watch that is an idiot.
You took the words right out of my mouth there. By the way, just to confirm, this is Rasclot, right?
Come on, man. This is the one and only. Come on.
50 and 0.
All right? There's only one me.
50 and 0.
Listen, man. Cesar Chavez Jr. Cesar Chavez Jr. don't know what weight class he's in. He's probably adopted. Cesar Chavez Sr. is 5'6", and this kid is about 6 foot. And his mom is short. He's probably adopted. He looks like he's half white. He doesn't listen. The problem is he's not talented, and let's just leave it at that. Let's move on and go on and talk about Charlo's upcoming fight with Harrison. That's what's more important. Jacobs is done. Jacobs ain't gonna do nothing at 168. The talent pool up there is way too young, and he's not strong enough for 168.
Wait, sorry, you lost me. Jacobs, you said, is not.
I agree with him. I agree with Jacobs not strong enough for 168.
I said
but
Daniel Jacobs is he only moved up in weight because he can't make 160 anymore. He's been a weight bully for too long now. Now that he's older, his metabolism is slowing down, so he's only fighting at 168 because he can't make 160 anymore. You put him in there with any top contender at 168, and they're going to beat him.
All right, so let's go through the list. What's his name?
Bring him on. Bring it.
Daniel Jacobs versus John Ryder.
Come on,
it's
man.
It's a good fight.
First of all, I don't even know who the fuck John Ryder is.
Okay, well, there you go.
John Ryder's a good fighter, man. Very underrated.
John Ryder, man.
All right, forget about it. I'll go with somebody you probably do know. How about Daniel Jacobs versus Caleb Truex? Oh, he already beat him. So I guess
Caleb
No, he already beat him.
Yeah, he already beat him. All right, so
He
we
already
got.
won that fight.
All right, so hold on. So Jose Uzcategui.
Wasn't that at a catchweight?
I don't remember. But okay, what about Daniel Jacobs versus Uzcategui?
I'm picking Daniel Jacobs to lose to everybody. He's too
Jeez.
skinny.
Even against Anthony Dirrell.
He's too big. I'm telling, listen,
WBC champion is David
hold on, time out.
Benavidez.
He could probably beat Andre, but he won't beat Anthony.
All right. Well,
I think he'd beat Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
I think Caleb Plant is as soft as tissue paper.
No, I don't think so, man. I think Caleb Plant outbox him, brother.
I just not bought into that
man.
kid. What about, can I just say something about Caleb Plant, what I thought was a little low rent? Man, he played up that fucking thing with his daughter dying, God rest his soul, his baby daughter down with his woman and shit, up. He's always, he's playing that angle when he first came in. And the second he get interviewed by that PBC girl in the short skirt, he dumps the mother of the dead baby and fucking marries her.
Yeah.
I just thought that was
true.
kind of fucking...
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, you know what, though? Listen, if you're going to dump the mother of your dead child, it must have been good, tight pussy. So we can't really fault him for that.
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, listen, what happened with his mother, too? Because that's also indicative of...
That was shot by the police.
Yeah, she got shot, but what the heck? Does anybody know what was all that about? Or like, was it
I guess she was drunk. But you know what? I think my mother's got drunk, but I'd be pretty surprised if you got in any situation where the cops would have a pistol drawn on her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It sounds like suicide by cop, if you ask me. I think that might have been what happened. Or maybe his mother was unstable or something. She just said, you know what? Let me call the cops. Try to get some work in.
Why can't these cops shoot women in the leg, man? I have a hard time with cops opening up on women. That's some fucked up shit. You can't shoot the woman. They got a knife, dude.
It's not as easy.
Away. Shoot them in the
You can
leg.
throw it.
From what I understand, it's not as easy to shoot, especially if somebody's moving. They say that it's not easy to shoot somebody on the legs. Like that's only something you see.
Well, and not just that, dude. You can fucking a 9mm, which most cops carry, unless you hit a vital organ. Man, I've seen people take that fucking bullet and not even slow them down. For real, dude. Not even slow the motherfucker down.
Oh yeah, I can take.
They're on PCP. Up. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can take a bunch of bullets. It's easy. No problem.
Police officers are scarier than Floyd Mayweather's boxing style.
Oh. No, but that is also the problem with certain cops is I've seen those videos where they kill people. They empty the whole clip. These fuckers, they don't take any chances. Just and it's like, all right. So, how afraid were you for your life that you're emptying a clip? What is it, like an 8-bullet clip or 12-bullet clip? Those 9mm depends on the model, I suppose. But
the cops, they would carry. It would be if it's a Glock, they got 8 in a fucking clip, 1 in the chamber, but they usually don't have one chamber. Well, you'll usually have one chambered. So, I just saw a video the other day. They shot a kid like 72 times. I mean, just like these 11 cops just open up, and they just kept firing. Even when he was on the ground, his body was bouncing.
Yo, G Boogie,
because his hand was still near the gun.
Yeah, G Boogie.
Oh, I get an echo.
No, G Boogie, you got your speakers on, so that's what we hear echo. Rascal, you were going to say something about the popos?
No, I was going to say nothing. What I was going to go back to was you could fight with a broken nose, especially depending on what type of fighter you are. If you could fight coming forward and you got a broken nose and you're talented enough to switch it up and turn into a boxer, you could fight with a broken nose. Cesar Chavez Jr. can't do any of that. He only knows one way, and that's to walk forward and get hit. That's all he knows. So you could fight with a broken jaw, depending on how how severe it is. But with a broken nose, you can fight with a broken nose, especially if it's earlier in the round, towards especially back in the days, 15 rounds, 9, 10, 11, that thing is fucking numb at this point. It's fucking gone.
Plus the nose goes numb. Plus a good corner would have Novocaine spread. You're mixing it with the Vaseline, so when they put a fucking nose, the wrap thing, they go up and they clean the inside of your nose. They take Novocaine. You know, you can mix it with Vaseline, or you can just take that. It's that shit they actually cut cocaine with. But yeah, you rub it up in the nose.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
do
going
that
to come
shit
up
for
with a
fun.
fist after and help numb it out.
I do that shit for fun. By the way, Rascal,
Right, there's ways.
Rascal, somebody in the chat room says, or Omar Davila in the chat room says, tell the caller, meaning you, tell the caller I'll break his nose and let's see if he wants to continue.
I've never had my nose broken, but I have had it busted many times. Actually, I'd never liked getting my nose busted because I know I'm sure you guys got your nose busted, but when you're done sparring or even having a fight with someone, it looks like you just got your ass whooped because there's blood all over the place.
Right.
So that sucks. That sucks. But have I ever had my nose broken? No, I never had my nose broken. But the person who asked that question, yeah, I could grab my dick and break his mom's nose with it.
Oh.
Whoa. What comes swinging?
This is a family show, Rascal. Come on, man. What's the matter with you? It's a family show.
Yeah, I forgot. Censor that. Except for the part about his mom being
no. Come on.
Censor that part.
No. All right, listen.
Hey, but anyway, you guys, I gotta go. I gotta go, man. I'm about to go out. I got the chat room's mothers twerking for charity. So I'm gonna see y'all later. I'm gonna enjoy this fight.
Oh boy. All
Peace.
Right. Thank you, Rascal, for calling in, man. All right, so you have there people, Rascal getting provoked by the people in the chat room. Now listen, I want to move on from Chavez because I think we've had it with Chavez. He was never that great.
What a fucking waste! What a fucking waste of skin.
Soundbite.
Yeah,
Oxygen thief.
I wanted to say something real quick because a couple of weeks ago we had an episode about YouTubers, boxing YouTubers, and the impact that can be had on the boxing community. And in that episode we covered the saga of barbershop boxing. What's his real name, Bucho? Fred. Well, anyway,
Hawthorne.
Well, he puts it out there, so we're not. Everybody knows what his name is apparently.
Yeah.
But
Fred Hawthorne. Say the motherfucker's name. There's no shame in that.
No,
everybody knows. But we didn't look it up or anything.
Thanks for the fucking. You sent me the video, Bucho. That's some crazy shit. He bum rushed that bitch. He went swinging on that woman.
He goes after her instead of going after Kenny Porter.
Can you believe that shit?
Oh, that's. Well,
hold on.
And then he starts telling Kenny, you know where I am, Kenny? No, let's go somewhere else.
Yeah,
but then he puts out a video saying, come on, you think I'd fight Kenny Porter? He's 55 years old.
Oh.
Let's tell
so
people what we're talking
contradicts
about.
What he said.
Let's tell people what we're talking about, because just in case somebody doesn't know what we're talking about here, Barbershop Conversations was a channel. Everybody has a channel on YouTube, and he's pretty well known in certain circles, and he got his press pass revoked a couple of weeks ago, and he made a big deal out of it. And he really acted in a bizarre way. He didn't handle it properly at all. He said that the woman who revoked it, first of all, he doesn't really know, I don't think, who revoked it, but I mean, that he says that it was the Kelly Swanson, the PR rep.
Swanson.
Yeah, the PR rep for the PBC. And then he went on to say that it was racially motivated. He went on to accuse Al Heyman of being a traitor and of ruining the vision that they had. I don't know why he thinks he's involved in the PBC, but that's what he said. And now there's this video coming out, which is an old video, apparently. It didn't happen recently, but it was only released recently. And it's of him getting into a tussle with Kenny Porter. Well, he trying to get into a tussle. He tried to go at Kenny Porter, the father of Sean Porter, because they have history together. But instead, he ended up colliding against a woman who I think is a friend of Kenny Porter, whatever. So now people are saying that this is really the nail on the coffin to show that this guy is not mentally there. So guys, I mean, you take it away. You're more familiar with this guy than I am. So what's going on here?
Well, can I just establish what he likened his career to? He likened it to the civil rights activist who sat on the back of the bus. I forget her name. Forgive me, but Harriet Tubman. He also, this is what he said: Al, we've been storming the beaches of Normandy for you. So he was actually imagine putting yourself these fucking brave dudes who nowhere near if half of them were going to get cut down, and that's cocksucker is fucking. So I have no respect for him. Even lay yourself with that. We stormed the beaches of Normandy for you. So he compared himself to that. The struggles of Malcolm X. Guy is a fucking psychopath, total fucking, and he's an idiot and contradicts himself. But he is worth some laughs. So you guys should check out those videos.
Well, listen.
Yeah, I saw them. I saw them, and it just cringe.
Yeah,
Stuff.
the guy's not even worth talking about. He's a salty dude that's always gonna be like that. He's always gonna have his base of followers.
But unfortunately, he has a slight influence where what he does is he unleashes some of these knuckleheads bleed over on other social media, and they carry what he said. So if you're in that echo chamber, I mean, you could just read the comments in his videos. You're like, are these people even dealing in reality? It's actually fucking crazy. Half of them, though, are just cutting up Fred. I mean, the shit he says, he sits there and just, why doing? He allocates $10,000 a month. That's his, and he allocates out of his funds to cover boxing. Really? So it's costing you 120 grand a year to fucking get thrown out of boxing matches. You fucking imbecile. You know what I mean? Swinging on a woman. He's fucking a lunatic. He claims all this, blackmailing and bullshit. And he's married a white woman. It's like, go fuck it. Shut up. Oh, wait, well, I mean, fucking even more white.
Say wait. And the fact that he acts shocked because he's been kicked out of the PBC after what he did, and it's on video, and he's still shocked that they kicked him out. Come on, man.
I mean, he says in the video too. What did he say? He goes, "Look at this." He goes, "You think I'm a radical? Look at all those diplomas. I was nominated for an Emmy." You guys understand when you record any kind of music, and if you have all you have to do is you put out music, and you have to send in say that I released music on this date to the Emmy thing. Everybody who makes music is nominated. You know what I mean? And it breaks it down to the ones who have the closest to win. It's so ridiculous that he would actually say them. Like, does he realize there's other people know about what he's saying? So he just uses the most stupid shit to like back himself up.
Delusional.
Yeah, go ahead. All right. Oh, you're cutting off. You're cutting off. Let's see. Travis the Chimp in the chat says Fred is demanding to dictate policy to the promotional companies. Yeah, and then he asks Al Heyman or he puts him in a situation where well, now you have to choose between Kelly Swanson or myself. Basically, that's what he's saying. It's like,
well, because if not, he's going to have a million. Because if he doesn't, he's going to have up to 1 million views a day, clicks a day, and he's going to bring the house of cards down around him.
He's going to start the 1 million man march or something. I mean, no.
Except he's short 999,000 people.
It's interesting how you encounter all sorts of people here on the internet. I mean, in the 2.5 years that we've been doing this podcast, I have seen people that are just out of this world, man. Really, that you wonder how they function in society amongst other human beings. But in a way, that's also the fun. That's also the fun of this platform that we're on, because I mean, it's a non-stop show. Can't make some of this stuff up. And somebody said that supposedly the LDBC have strong ties to the LGBT community, and that's why they feel like they can do whatever they want, because nobody's going to badmouth the LGBT communities, and by proxy, nobody's going to mention or badmouth the LDBC either. So, listen, at this point, I just brought this up because I wanted to get your opinions on this, but I think it's pretty clear cut and dry that this guy was...
Well, he's a liar. Listen, the fact that he's telling Kenny Porter, let's go somewhere else, like to fight, like let's go somewhere else. Like, what does that tell you about that person? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's all on video. Now he can't deny it. He can't refute it. I hope people start waking up, man.
He seems to.
And then he says exactly, Bucho, because that's exactly the thing he's pushing in that video he made. You think I'm going to fight a 55-year-old man?
Yeah.
Come on. And in the video there, come on, Kenny, let's go somewhere else. What was he talking about? Play checkers?
Yeah.
Fucking
no, he's gonna twist it. He's gonna say that he just wanted to talk to him. That's what he's gonna say. Trust me.
He's seeking attention. Everybody's refusing to give him interviews now. If they already knew, like the Kelly Swanson lady and Al Heyman already knew, Kenny Porter with these antics outside of the ring in the parking lot is going to get around people from the PBC. I mean, like everybody across the board, they're going to like tell him just stay away from this guy, and even put it like a warrant out on him.
Yeah.
Well, I
was
guess he was
very
told. I guess. Well, I guess they were told. PBC fighters were told not to interact with him.
Oh, geez. Well, that's bad news indeed. I mean, I thought the brothers were supposed to be sticking together. But listen, the point is this. You act like a maniac. It doesn't matter what color you are. People are going to get turned off and they're not going to want to do business with you. That's the bottom line. But also, this guy strikes me as the type of person that even if you show him evidence point blank in front of his face, he will never admit that he did any wrongdoing. Like Bucho said, he's going to spin it. And also the type of people that really fascinate me because that means there's no conscience behind what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like the fact that they can lie nonstop is something to behold. Really, it's really impressive to me. But yeah, that's the only reason why I wanted to bring him up. Is because it's something that happened recently, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. So I don't know how much more you want to talk about it. By the way, the Fox Sports card started about 38 minutes ago. So when the main event actually starts, or before that, we'll end it because I don't think there's much. I mean, Rigonda was supposed to fight tonight too, by the way, on the undercard. But then the guy that he was supposed to fight, he had visa issues. I guess the Coyotes couldn't get him through the border in time, so that fight's not happening.
It wasn't a bad fight. The Laborio's lease was good a few years back. He gave the former king Yamanaka, very tough fights in Japan. Almost actually stopped him before getting, stopped himself. He fought against, McDonald, the champion, who I knew he eventually knocked out as well, but he actually beat him in the UK, but was given a horrible decision. So a little bit past his best, but he was very good at, a few years back.
Right. Yeah, it's a shame that we didn't get to see Rigo now because Rigo's last fight, he really went a full 180. And because the thing with Rigo now, I always wanted to see him fight a little bit more aggressively. But the way he fought in the last fight was not the way I wanted to see him fight. He just stood there in front of a dude, let him tee off on him, get some body shots in, and he slugged it out with the guy. And okay, yeah, it was fun. But when I tell you to fight more aggressively, it doesn't mean you got to go in there and slug it out and fight like Brandon Rios, all right? You do what I tell you, you'll be fine. If you don't, we're going to have a problem.
But Rigondeaux is always a puncher, B. It's funny, though. He's been built on the fundamentals of Cuban boxing, but if you look at his fights, he is actually a puncher, but because he doesn't have a high knockout ratio, is because of that Cuban mentality. He's not a finisher like that, so his coach is always telling him, almost don't finish the fight like that. But he relies exclusively on his punching power and always has done, even during the amateurs. Well, I haven't seen the first half, but I saw quite a lot of his amateurs later on, and he was actually almost standing and trading rather than moving at the time. So he himself thinks himself as a puncher, and that's the way he has been fighting in his professional career.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's a puncher. He is a puncher.
Well, he doesn't want to fight anymore. That's true. I mean, I'm serious. I was told that, people know the situation. He owes a lot of people money in the Cuban community in Miami. He borrowed a lot of money from people. So he's only fighting because he just needs the money. His heart's not in it. It hasn't been in it. Obviously, even when he fought Lomachenko by him quitting. And all his people, I guess, bailed on him too. All that crew he ran with, prior to the Lomachenko fight, that was it for them. The way he quit, they just never forgave him.
Really? Jeez.
Oh yeah.
And why was he borrowing money all over the place?
Well, what happens when they first come here, and it happens a lot with those Cubans or people come from places where you couldn't be a pro. they fall with the money. They sign contracts with everybody, even contracts that overlap each other and what aren't even legal. He's signed, but remember he signed with forget who it was, HBO. They bought that out. They released him. And then he went to Rock Nation, signed that big fucking contract with Rock Nation.
Oh yeah.
You remember? But he didn't live up to the obligations there. Unlike Cotto, who was guaranteed money. Rigondeaux had to hit certain criteria to get fully paid, and he didn't. But he used that, if you almost like it's a scam. Like you go to a bank, you have fake paperwork that you own a bunch of homes, you can use as collateral, and they overextend a loan. Sort of like that. He's going around the Cuban community. And a lot of the Cubans don't believe in banks because of the banking systems they grew up with, and they keep cash at the house, and they do personal investments. And so he knows that. He would borrow large sums of money off people, saying, "Well, I got this money coming, so let me a couple $100,000." I mean, he's buying Ferraris and living that life. His wife fucking, I guess, spent money like a drunken sailor, and he was always scratching behind the 8 ball, and then he would lose out, and he's. So yeah, and you could tell the way he quit against his heart's just not in it. He's only fight, and then his last fight even told me even more. He's there for the payday because he has to fight.
Yeah, but
he
why
did
fight?
that in Japan as well. When he fought
Agashi.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Yokonori Oguni, and he was supposed to fight Shingo Wake as well. And I think there was agreements in place, but he reneged on them as well. So his relationship management over the years has just been the reason why a lot of these promoters have just extricated him, top rank, etc., as Jimmy has mentioned. So yeah,
he
it's
strikes
been
me
self-inflicted.
He strikes me as a very arrogant type of personality. I don't know. That's just my first impression whenever I see him speaking and doing interviews. I mean, he seems like a guy that thinks he's got it all figured out.
I said the same thing, BDA. I said he seems like a smug prick, and from what I was told, to his credit, I mean, I guess this is to his credit. I guess he's crippling. I guess he's very shy, like very, very shy. So that's what he was told. Who knows? He could be a shy prick. But I'm just saying. I was told.
Yeah, he could be shy. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's Regan out there for the because they're talking about maybe him against Inoue. I mean, listen. The Inoue fight, some people say that the Inoue would run through him, but I would have been very intrigued to see the 2013 Rigondeaux that schooled Donaire, that guy against Inoue, the Inoue of today. That would have been
good scrap.
Yeah, I mean, because
now I think Inoue would fucking ice him.
Yeah, more probably, man.
Right
I
now,
mean,
yeah,
because Hugo Ruiz in his last fight was beating up Rigondeaux. That wasn't even close up until the incident, but yeah, Rigondeaux is finished.
But that's the other thing is because he fought a very stupid fight, Rigondeaux, in his last fight. So it begs the question: was he just because sometimes it happens to fighters late in their career, like you said, they don't care, so they fight in a way in which they don't care if they get hit anymore, and they just want to go to town and slug it out. Could it also be maybe he thought he had to make something happen? He decided to fight that way to try to raise his profile, or maybe his legs are shot, and that's why he wasn't.
I go with that. I was waiting for you to say legs. Absolutely, I think he knows now his legs aren't there. He knew it coming out of sparring. His legs aren't the same.
Jeez.
They say your legs. Your friends are your legs are first to go, followed by your friends. But your powers are supposed to be the last thing, so to go. So he knows he can still crack.
Right.
Because he can't hit. I mean, he damaged. Remember that Japanese kid? He broke his face.
Oh yeah.
The kid was like a head and shoulders taller than Lomachenko. But again, that's the reason why he lost to Lomachenko, because he was too big. But the kid was even fucking twice, even bigger than Lomachenko. He jacked that dude up. It's just ridiculous.
And don't forget, he also injured the Donaire's eye. I think in the 11th or 12th round. I think it was the last round. So he can crack, man. He can crack it. It's speed and accuracy.
If you put him there against a quality opponent, I mean, he might actually give an exciting fight like his compatriot, or how do you say? What is this guy that? It is Landy Lara. He's been in exciting fights where they call him boring, but in the fight that he standed his ground, he's been exciting.
That's true. That's another guy.
That's another Angulo. The fight with Angulo was really good many years ago.
That's
Herd fight was excellent.
That's another guy that can crack, but prefers to just throw one shot at a time. I mean,
Lara in his heyday was a talented kid. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Just bad promotion. Another one who signed a bunch of different fucking deals. Supposedly was upside down with money.
And BDA, I'm not sure about this fight.
Total poverty.
Sorry, what did you say? Corruption?
I think for this fight, I think Rigondeaux actually came down in weight from 122 to 118.
No
I think it
kidding.
was scheduled for.
He's a small
which is
guy.
quite unusual. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that could also affect his legs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think he should have moved up to 122 at all. I think he looks like he can make 118 easy. I mean, he's cut. He's a short dude. It is impressive at his age that he can actually come down in weight, but nevertheless, maybe he's just got good genetics. I don't know. That's another guy though that Leland out. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, if you look at his build, to touch on what you were saying, just scale it up to fucking Wilder. It's the same type of build.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Long muscle bellies, some narrow joints, wide shoulders to the waist. Guys with big wide backs, you can usually crack.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question. Maybe Jimmy could answer this for BDA. So he got visa issues before Cuban fighters couldn't leave the island to where they would like be in exile, right? Now they can go back and forth, and that's why he's got visa issues? Or he going to another country?
Well, it wasn't him, wasn't it? His opponent had visa issues?
Yeah, it was the Mexican dude, Solis.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
He defected. He actually swam across, took the boat, one of the boat people. He got caught the first time, and that is a terrible thing, especially when you're an athlete, because like he was living high on the hog. They were paying him $33 a month. So they were so right, imagine that. So they were so offended so they ostracized him. And you got to remember, everybody's going to follow with Castro was still alive then too. So he's a huge fight fan. So he was furious. So he was imprisoned, and then people in public wouldn't talk to him. People spit at him and shit. Because
that's what happens to me too.
What's that?
Same thing with me, but I didn't try the defect. But
he tried it. So and that's when he realized I got to get the fuck out of here. And then he fought again. And again, that country, you don't have the choice. Like when they come to your door and you're a good fighter, say you just you do it as a teenager, 12, 13, you're just really good. Next thing you know, you get a handler telling you, no, you're going to continue to fight. And if you show that kind of promise, they want gold medals. So you can't quit. I mean, you can quit, but I'm telling you right now, it wouldn't do your family any favors under those, political circumstances.
Right. Yeah, Cuba is not an easy place. Well, that Cuba, Castro Cuba was a hard place sometimes.
They tell you all the time what to do, what to think, what to feel.
You want to work 8, 10 fucking hours, you own nothing, you got nothing? You want a Chivano on every corner, man, looking after you, watching everything you do, everything you say, man?
No, that doesn't sound like fun at all. By the way, we got recognized. Just came in. Recognized. Are you there?
Is that Frank? I say fuck Frank.
I thought we had recognized on the line. I thought we had recognized. It's somebody else.
It's the Cuban.
Are you the guy that's
recognized? Okay.
Are you the guy that's always calling in the Cuban who's always talking about the revolution and all that?
The revolution is still here. Okay, I'm part of it.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
You are the revolution.
Everything's gonna be nice. Everything's gonna be perfect.
You are the revolution, right?
I am. Are you one of those dudes who walk around wearing a shave? What's his name? Chavaro. What's his name?
Che Guevara. Che Guevara.
Che Guevara shirt. Those people piss me off. That dude was a fucking pedophile.
Hey, you watch your mouth when you talk about him, okay? He was.
I hear you, brother. Raise the red flag, man. That motherfucker did terrible shit to children, old women. He was a fucking animal.
He was my father.
College kids walking around wearing this shirt.
I wonder how much of that though. Yeah, we should do a special Renaissance episode on that because I mean,
that guy was a killer. Yeah, he was a horrible person.
A fucking horrible. I read a book written by
what was the Cuban guy's name that took him out? What was the Cuban guy's name that got him taken out in Bolivia? I forgot his name.
Yeah, they walked in, they shot him in that hut.
Well, the guy that put the hit on him, the FBI or the CIA.
The CIA, yeah, they hunted him down. It was a kill order because
remember, he ended up paying up somebody from the Bolivian government to take him out. I just forget the guy's name. Something Rivera. Fuck. He explained it. He explained how the FBI, it was the CIA, excuse me. It was the CIA. They wanted him to cut his head off as proof. And he was like, dude. He was like, I can't
took
do
pictures.
That shit. I'll cut his
They took pictures of his dead body for that. Yeah, as proof.
No, he said, no, I'll cut his finger off. And that's
well, the
what he
CIA,
did. He cut his... Yeah, because they had his fingerprints and all that. So what he did was, I just forget his name. He's from Cuba originally. He was against the whole Castro, regime and all that. His name slips me right now.
Fernando Rivera.
Yes, that's it. Fernando Rivera. Corruption. You got it. And he
this-
talked about how the CIA wanted him to fucking cut his head off as proof.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I'll cut his finger off, not his fucking head off.
Yeah,
He's
that's
a
going
rich,
too far,
spoiled
right?
Punk. He was raised in fucking, opulence in that time. His father was a government official. His mother was educated. They had money. Now, he was a mama's boy. He had sick fucking sexual fetishes. He murdered people in cold blood.
Wasn't Che from Argentina originally?
Yeah, he was Argentinian. I wonder how much of that those stories about him being a pedo and all that, how much of that is propaganda and how? Because I mean, you gotta.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these Cubans living in Miami who got their land taken away, and they want to come back and push everybody out and just build hotels and casinos again. I don't
Well,
really
that's how
listen to some of the
Batista had it,
stories.
right?
But
Yeah.
this was this book I read by a Cuban historian. He was a communist himself. This book guy wrote it, so he was a leftist, far pro-communism. He wrote a book saying how the revolution became too bloody, and he blamed Che. So this was you know what I mean, like when his people.
Which
But
revolution
then it was other
hasn't been
people in
bloody?
the
Though?
army. What's that?
My issue is which revolution hasn't been bloody.
No.
I mean, every revolution is going to be bloody.
And then the story.
No, but they were
I don't
saying,
know. I don't trust
But
anyone.
this was from other people in the army who said like he would once you get to that certain point where you're like generals shouldn't be still taking pistols and shooting women in the head. And too many, like people. He would even brag about it in interviews that he had. So he wanted to lead by example. It's just I don't know, man.
Jimmy, what did the women do wrong though? Maybe we didn't hear what they did wrong.
Something.
Maybe they would stop yapping. Maybe they would stop yapping. You know how that can be with women. Yap. Like, all right, where's my gun? Jeez. All right, listen.
Well,
didn't want to turn this into the Che Guevara show, but I mean, oh jeez. All right, you know what? So let's get everybody's. By the way, we gotta do. I'm stammering over here because I want to do a second Renaissance episode so we can talk precisely about these things without having to return to boxing every 5 minutes. Hopefully, you guys let me know where you can do it because I don't want to just go on the air and just babble on. You know I can do it, but I'd rather not do it. I want to have somebody to talk to and to have some to hear some stories and different points of view. All right, so you guys let me know when you can do it, and we'll try to organize something for that.
I can do it for the. I'm gonna be off of work for like a nice week or two.
All right.
So
all right.
I'm available anytime.
Fantastic. That's great to know. And everybody else, you let me know when you got the time, and we'll set something up. And Jonathan Mercer says BDA is deflecting. Deflecting about what? Let's stick to the boxing then. Let's get predictions then for tonight's fight because I think it's going to start. It's going to start soon. I think the main event. So Bucho, I think let's just recapitulate. Let's go in order. Bucho.
Charlo, 9th round stoppage.
Can you write them down by the way?
Yeah.
All right. So Bucho's saying Charlo 9th round stoppage. Gonzalo?
Charlo 9th round stoppage, TKO.
Wait a minute. The same prediction as Bucho? What's going on here?
I'm not going to change it just because that's what I had already thought. Well, all right, I'll change it for the sake of having. Give me 10th.
Are you sure though? Or
yeah.
All right, he's sure.
All right, this one.
10th round. All right, corruption. All right. Prediction time, corruption.
I think the fight will go on points. Charlo's 5-4. I think Tony Harrison will outbox him. Gut feeling is Charlo will somehow get a political decision.
Wait a minute.
Decision robbery
in the first fight.
Okay, so I didn't get because you cut off there. So you're saying Harrison, in your eyes, is going to win, but the judges are going to give it to Charlo.
Yeah, I think Charlo will probably get a decision.
fucking shit.
But corruption, aren't you essentially covering your rear end by saying that? Because if Charlo wins, then you're gonna say, "Well, I told you he won." But if Harrison
No.
wins,
But listen, look, financially, I've taken Harrison at 11-4 because there's value, financial value there.
Yep.
But that doesn't necessarily mean what I think will happen in the fight.
Okay. I got you. All right, so there you have it.
He's a smart man. He's a smart man.
Yeah, but corruption
That's
is
the way to
putting
do it.
corruption is putting his money down. So that should tell you how invested he is
BDA,
in
I'm a
the.
professional speculator, but you know, I mean, I don't place bets under 4 figures for any fight.
Oh,
You know?
jeez. Big roller over here. So there you have it. Corruption is putting his money down. So he's got something vested. He's not playing around here. He is serious about his predictions. It's not like everybody else that's just like, give me, Jimmy Hoffa by split decision or whatever. No. This guy is into it. All right. So you're saying, officially, Charlo is gonna.
Look. Just to simplify, Jermell Charlo by points.
Jermell Charlo by points. All right.
Okay.
Let's not be ambiguous so that people can test it.
Fantastic. All right, Jimmy, what about you? Prediction time.
Present. He's
voting.
Abstaining. No,
Muting,
honestly.
What? You can't do that, Jimmy.
No, I'm just joking, dude. I'm not abstaining. Shit. I've been doing pretty good, man. I've been hitting on the home runs lately, but I think I'm gonna miss this one bad.
Don't overthink it, man. Don't overthink it.
I'm gonna fucking go out on a limb here. I'm gonna go fucking Charlo 9th round stoppage.
All right.
There you go.
No, I think it's gonna be I think Charlo. If it goes the distance, it's weird because I'm in the same train of thought as because I think Harrison. I agree with my boy from the UK. Harrison is a better technical fighter, and I think
Holland
goes the distance. It will be. I just think he could outpoint him, but I just think fucking Charlo for some reason. I just foresee it. I got nothing but my gut feeling. I think he's gonna catch him with a shot and put him away. And I think the referee will be real quick to stop it.
All right, so
they want Charlo to be the champ.
All right, so Jimmy's saying Charlo by stoppage. By the way,
which
corruption.
round?
He's at 9.
All right. If you don't want me to copy on like Bucho,
you
I was
can.
thinking 8th and 9th. All right, so okay, could I go with? Because me and Bucho called didn't we call the 10th round on with Canelo too? I think we both called that round.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did. Kid. We pointed the bats.
I didn't predict the knockout. No. But anyways, all right. Who's next?
And by the way, corruption in boxing is from Holland or the Netherlands, or I don't know what they're calling the country this week. But
now they're saying South Africa. Rumors are he's from South Africa.
I'm sorry. I thought you were from the UK, brother. I apologize.
I thought so too.
You're forgiven.
The first time we spoke to corruption, I thought he was from the UK too, and then he goes, "No, I'm from Holland." I go, "Whoa, what?" Yeah, I thought the Dutch. I can't recognize a Dutch accent. I'm sorry, but yeah. So now that's been established.
I do have property in the UK as well.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well,
there's 2 things I can't stand: people who are rude to other ethnic groups and the Dutch.
Oh, come on, Jimmy. What's the matter with
What was your prediction yesterday?
Who are you asking?
Recognize.
Oh yeah, let me give that official prediction before
Yeah.
this fucking thing goes down on me again.
Right.
What a way to talk about your wife, man. Come on.
I got Charlo. I hope Charlo shuts this motherfucker up. I mean, I'm getting tired of Tony Harrison. I'm being honest with you, even though Jermell Charlo's opinion, he's a little. Okay, I know YouTube is. He's a little girl. I can say that, right?
I think so.
Okay, he acts like a little girl. All right, but at the same time, Harrison is a sore winner. He barely won that fight. I thought he lost.
It's true.
Yeah, he's annoying, man. I hope Charlo breaks his jaw, but I really don't care for either guy, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna say Charlo because I thought Charlo already beat him. I think he beats him on points. I think he scores a knockdown, almost gets him out of there, but because he's Charlo, he won't. And
all right,
he wins on points.
I like how everybody's respectful or like neutral with their predictions. Like, all right, I think this was gonna happen. Blah blah. Recognize right away with that high testosterone comes in that the doctor told him about, and he goes, "No, fuck this guy. I hate him. This guy's a little girl. This guy's annoying. Hopefully, he gets his head caved in." I was like, all right, recognize. Take it easy, man.
Tell you, man. It's all that testosterone I got. The doctor said you're too much of a man.
I'm the opposite, man. I hope.
Can I throw
Harrison
in an extra
stays
prediction?
Hold on. Hold on. Corruption. I can hear what you say.
I'm sort of converse, like in terms of I hope Tony Harrison knocks those blonde Jerry curls off his head.
No, come on.
They're both annoying.
They're both annoying. Yeah,
they're annoying people. Both of them.
Hey, what did Tony?
Double knockout. I want a double knockout. Like,
hey, what?
Yeah,
Tony...
I'll throw in there also if Charlo loses, he cries.
Yeah.
Oh.
He does.
That's what
prediction.
That's what Michael Stott said too. He called in. He said, "What's his name? Charlo's gonna lose and he's gonna cry again."
I'm pretty sure Corruption can find a way to make a bet on that.
He's gonna win and he's gonna call out J-Rock. No, if he wins, he's gonna call out J-Rock in the ring or something, yell something stupid. But is he gonna wear that headdress? I mean, that thing bugs me, dude. Come on.
The lion?
Somebody if they trick or treat, with that big lion head.
Hey, somebody sent me an email, by the way, and they said that the best thing that Charlo could do right now, from a PR's perspective, is just come out as homosexual. And I said, I don't know if that's
in this day and age.
Exactly.
Don't. Put on a fucking robe. You know what I mean? Wear a boxing robe.
Yeah. What happened to that? What happened to the robes? Yeah.
Fuck. You know, you don't. All right, these guys fighting twice a year. That's what's going to hurt. And that's what's going to stop them from getting a knockout. We just discussed the other night. When did fighters back in the day go to 2 times a year? When they were fighting on pay-per-views and the fights were so massive or they were so big, they had to, just the logistics of it. When you're still coming up, like, you're losing. Charlo should be fighting 4 or 5 times a year, that imbecile. And he's acting, when you start treating careers like they've already made that pinnacle, and that's the reason why, just sloppiness.
Hey, Balderas got KO'd.
What?
Balderas.
Yeah, no hype needed. No hype needed. Balderas got KO'd. Yeah, referee Ray Corona was refereeing that bout.
Why are you obsessed? Gazalo, can I ask you why you're obsessed with this referee, man?
No, he was an ex-Cholo. I just want to hear his story.
That's all you know what it's gonna be about. It's gonna be about, hey, Holmes, I used to roll pretty hard, but now I found God. That's what he's gonna be.
I used to do drop-bys. That's it. I used to sit there and just watch them fall and shit.
Yeah, I used to be a warrior. I used to be a warrior for Los Mags, but now the only warrior, the only person I go to war for is Jesus Christ, or something like that. He's gonna say. I've heard it before, man.
Until I found
you ever see one of these guys they've been through so much that they kind of almost they speak before the question gets out. The guy be like, so how did you change? Let me tell you something. That says I used to have problems.
Yeah.
Hey, BVA, your prediction.
Yes, I knew I liked how Bucho he's accused me in the past of not giving predictions. So
It's true. It's true. He starts talking about something else and shit.
All right, my prediction. You're besmirching my good name, Bucho. What's the matter?
Yeah, exactly. The
All
reputation.
Right. You want my prediction? I'll give it to you. I think Charles is going to win this by decision. Hey, BDA, go fuck yourself. All right. I think Charlo by decision.
Okay.
Just unanimous decision.
Okay.
See, you got people in the chat room that one hitter goes BDA Ducks predictions. Oh man, I'm never gonna be able to shake this one off now. It's set in stone. Whenever Bucho says something about me, it's in. You can't change it. All right, so apparently what? Efe Ajagbe, that scary Nigerian dude, he just fought or he's about to fight?
He's about to fight.
He's fighting now.
On? Is it on ESPN or no? What's it on?
Fox Sports. Fox Sports.
Fox.
No,
okay.
it's Fox Network, not sports.
BDA, the odds for Efe Ajagba's opponent is 1-8, so it's a showcase for.
Wow.
Yeah, he just KO'd him. He's done.
Oh, it's done now.
Just right now, it's just we speak. He just dropped him on his ass. He got up. He beat the count. But he's probably going to get taken out.
Listen, this is the PBC, right? So we've talked about unfortunately, they have a good, it's good. They have a good stable of fighters, but they can't seem to get them enough dates or enough promotion to get them big fights. So where does Ajagba go from here? Because he's got good potential, apparently. And he got that PR move last year when the other guy quit before even the fight even started. So what do you guys expect from Ajagba? A year and a half before he fights somebody that's...
Well, he should be fighting somebody now.
Yeah, why wait?
I think he's ready now. I mean, just find out.
What are you gonna say? He's barely gonna step into his mastery. He's 24. He looks big as fuck. I mean, what is he gonna get?
Robotic.
Like,
He's robotic and predictable right now. He's kind of robotic, and predictable, and you can tell he's very limited amateur skill because fights because he thinks in the ring. You can still see him thinking, but for power, the people down in that gym. The guy who holds mitts said his trainer said he's never felt anybody with the power. They go through training mitts like in half the time he normally does. So the guy can crack.
Yeah, he's built. I think he's just as tall as Joshua and Wilder. Just about.
No, he's going to be an avoided dude because right now there's no upside. There's no name recognition.
Is it me, Jimmy, or is he's more? There's more density in his muscles than. Probably Wilder, but just the same as Joshua.
Really?
I would put him like if because I get to body style, he would be the best bodybuilder of the three if there's stacked muscle on. So he's got that type of frame. But I'm curious. I'm just curious if he can catch because God knows he can pitch, but I'm just curious if he can catch.
Yeah.
But he's a tough guy to match right now because think about it. If you get an up-and-coming fighter that you have hope for, why would you want to put him in against a killer, right? I mean, it's like you're not going to get a big payday off him, but he risks putting you to sleep. So it's hard when you get somebody cracks. It's hard to actually match him. No top-end guy like say if I don't even think somebody like Dillian White would want to fight him right now.
Dillian White would probably watch him.
What's that?
White.
I don't know. I'm just saying like what worth would it be because he has no name? It would be completely up to Dilly. You know what I mean? To sell the fight, and what's you got to saying I'm taking on that kind of kid. If he catch me clean, I'm gonna get put out. So like that's the only drawback when you have that kind of power. It's hard to match somebody on the way up.
He's fighting like 3 times a year. Eventually,
that's ridiculous, yo. The boys. I think he's bigger than Joshua, bro.
Why do
they?
He looks bigger. He looks bigger than Josh.
He's bigger because Joshua looks like he's a manufactured big guy. This guy naturally looks big. He's dead, like you said.
Right. He's got more bone density, it looks like.
Well, according to BoxRec,
6'6" or something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. According to BoxRec, he's 6'6". So take away an inch or half an inch, and he's what, 6'5", 6'5.5", probably. Still pretty big. I mean, that's what Lennox Lewis.
I mean, he's as big as Wilder and fucking Joshua. I mean, I think Wilder's listed as 6'7", and Wilder. Joshua's 6'6", Wilder's 6'7". So pretty. Look at this dude.
Wait.
Yo, he's a monster.
Apparently, he just got dropped.
He did.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. I don't know if they're playing around with us, but
he just got dropped. I'm talking about how good he is. Or
you're getting egg on your face. Can somebody confirm whether that's true or whether people are playing around with us?
I'm not seeing it. I don't know if I got it. Not yet. No, he knocked the other guy about a minute ago. He's hurt him again. The other guy's getting put on Queer Street.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But this Ajagba dude. How soon before they put him in there against the usual suspects like Kevin Johnson or Tony
I'm
Thompson?
watching the fight now, dude.
Yes.
You just go to this guy's
get dropped. He did get dropped. I was on a massive delay. He got dropped.
All right, I'm watching this now. I'm going to sit and watch it only because I've been saying third round, so I'm behind. He's going to fucking his right. Why would you? All his power's in his right. Even in his stance, if you look at his stance, you can tell he only can throw. His right hand's everything. Just go to his left. He should be going to his left. Anyways, people are stupid.
Yeah, they fall in love with that right hand, bro.
Well, listen,
They
I
fall in
don't
love
know.
with that shit.
I don't know how hard he got hit or how bad he got hurt, but can we agree that if he gets past this is the type of I mean, this is exactly what he needs, right? A little adversity in his career.
You know that this is a proven fact that most guys that are right don't know how to. They fall, in other words, they fall in love with their right hand. They're not good with the left. Like lefties are better naturally than the other way around.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
that's a
father,
pro-
my father, box man. He made switch positions. It was southpaw from there on out.
Really, that's interesting. Oh, I'm trying to watch
Want
here.
me to get? Huh?
No, sorry for
Yeah,
the radio sound.
I'm left-handed.
Yeah, yeah. You're probably naturally left-handed.
I'm naturally left-handed.
Yeah, you see me, I was like, I'm still I could still write. I prefer my right hand on certain things, but when my father started training me, he totally switched to lefty.
Okay, I just saw the
And
knockdown. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. He got dropped, right?
Guy
He got
caught him with
dropped.
a wicked shot.
He had
Guy
the
was
head. He threw a 1-2. They exchanged right hands, and he kept the head on the same axis. So he just he ate that right hand square on the fucking jaw.
Got lazy.
What happened to that other Nigerian, Izu Agono? Very decent fighter, like very unorthodox, unpredictable, but good punching power, you know. He's just totally disappeared.
I don't know, man, but I still remember Ike Biabuchi, who knocked out Chris Bird, slugged it out with David Tua, of all people, and then he ended up trying to sneak into a woman's house to rape her, and that was it for him. Career over. But man, he was. Some people said he could have knocked out Lennox Lewis.
He was
Yeah, if you guys watch the fight, or you'll see this. He gets lazy. He fucking he goes to jump in without any fundamentals. His head up on, like you said, a swivel, and boom. But he had that kid fucking doing. He had Bambi legs. He was doing the fucking goofy dance all the way across the room. So he had him hurt. And what? I mean, that's the first thing you're taught in the fucking rank amateur, man. Wounded man is at his most dangerous because he's just gonna fucking load up. Just to
Exactly.
He didn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's the thing is he's used to taking these guys out. So he probably didn't see. That's the thing there, where you have to be careful and you have to teach a guy the fundamentals to be careful when you're hunting a guy and waiting to take him out. Because if you're not, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to get caught. So I'm expecting he's probably going to take this dude out anytime soon during this.
Yeah. And one thing, when you get hurt too, your like eyesight becomes like tunnel vision, to where you can focus on the punch you want to place to save your ass. Because you're hurt, you're like dangerous, and then your eyesight becomes tunnel vision, and your whole thing is, I'm gotta land that one punch to knock the other guy out, and then you're very dangerous when you're hurt.
Shit, I didn't get that kind of hurt. When I was hurt, I was goofy. I saw a bright flash white in 3 different people, and fucking I missed out on that tunnel vision shit. I believe it though. You can get like maybe like focused in on something, but yeah, when I was out on my feet, I was out. Like I felt like I was walking in cement. It was bizarre.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, man. It's a weird feeling when you get when you see stars or when you see that white flash, and you're still
white
conscious.
Flash, boom.
It's like being in a dream, but
Like taking GHB. Seriously, almost like GHB. Like fucking, you're awake but you're out. It's crazy.
Yeah, something like. I've never taken GHB. I mean, I've given it, but I've never taken it. But no, I'm kidding. But this Jagbe, he seems to have recomposed himself. But Jimmy, you hit the nail right on the head. He's too robotic. No head movement,
robotic.
very stiff.
Yep, no head movement. I would just throw aim punches at his chest. I would tell him keep going to his fucking left, well, his right, but Ajari's left, and just keep throwing punches, wind up and throw him at his chest. Look at he keeps stepping with the same thing. He's not setting up anything. He's just
yeah.
I hate
was there also
fundamentals?
Was there also a Nigerian guy called Henry Akiwandi or something?
Yeah. He had that snooze fist against Lennox Lewis, I think.
Yeah, he fought with hepatitis C against Lennox Lewis.
Oh, Jeez.
Who had hepatitis C? Who?
Henry Akawande.
Oh, I don't want nobody fuck. I mean, look.
Oh man.
Can you imagine Lennox Lewis finding that out?
Oh, he must have been, sir, you are rude and crude, and that was just not something you do to another gentleman. Shut up, Lennox. Go back to commentating.
Yeah,
This dude's got a horrible left hook. Horrible left hook, Ajari. I didn't realize how bad his left hook is. It's non-existent. He's all right hand. He's like Wilder.
Yeah, recognize. Did you manage to catch some of the fights so far? Or have you?
No, man. I'm just getting back. I'm in Florida right now.
What?
Yeah. I just got to my crib and trying to. My internet is all fucked up. Ever since you know how I hate flying, and when you get to your destination, and then your service is out of whack.
Oh yeah. Hey, you know what? You should drop by Pete's house uninvited. Just drop in and hey, Pete. It's
I was thinking about it too. I might head out.
He's about to stop this dude. One more shot. He's gonna put him away. Ooh, he just caught him again being hurt. He just caught fucking Ajari. He's got no finish game.
Recognize.
Sorry, I'm just talking over the fuck everybody.
Recognize.
But surprisingly, he lands a lot and he's not taking the guy out. The guy's still standing up. If that were Wilder, connecting is
much as Wilder, this fight would have been over a long time ago.
This guy's out on his feet. He keeps sticking his tongue out.
The job he goes.
Yeah, give Wilder credit, man. This guy's got hand speed. That's why he's able to take these dudes out. Ajabe has
just called the fight.
Oh, really?
They waved the flag. the doctor came up on the side of the apron, waving the flag, waving the towel.
Yeah,
So
the other guy was just
called it.
This other dude was just too sloppy, and when you're that sloppy, any one punch is gonna make it seem as if you're completely out of it. So, all right. So
What was this dude's record going into this?
That's a good question. Let me check it out, man.
4 losses.
Okay. All right, so who was this in the ring? That tells me a lot. He has Schaefer's involved with this dude. Steve Schaefer was up on the side of the ring. He got up there with Watson, so it's not just PBC. Schaefer's got a piece of this dude. Oh, that's right. Schaefer, that's Schaefer's fighter. Steve Schaefer, that fucking cockroach.
So, come on, Jimmy, come on. Iago, this guy's Iago Kilazzi. That's the opponent that dropped Ajabe tonight. He's from Georgia. He's 33, 26 wins, 18 knockouts. So he's got a pretty good, decent record. Decent punching power, even though it's against nobodies. And 4 losses, all by stoppage.
Oh, 4 losses. Yeah, he's a chinny prick. And I'll tell you, Jari didn't do himself any good. Schaefer might be going, God damn, I've spent a lot of money on this kid. He threw him over. He hasn't worked. No, he supports him. I mean, that's his fighter. I remember reading that. So he has to pay for everything, right? He hasn't started making money on this kid yet. Right now, I'm sure he's a losing proposition. And after what he saw tonight, he must have been like, God damn.
Say what you want about Wilder, but he can crack, man. When he's got very good hand speed and an unorthodox style that works for him. Say what you want about Joshua, that he fights scared now, blah, blah, blah. He's got decent skills himself, as he showed against Andy Luis, and good punching power. Tyson Fury, say what you want about him being crazy outside the ring. He's got boxing skills. This Ajagba guy, so far, has been getting by on power and size. He just showed you tonight. He's going to have to tighten that defense up. Otherwise, Wilder's going to take him out. Joshua's going to take him out. Fury might not be able to take him out, but he might be able to tag him enough to just completely shut him down. So,
dude, you could seriously take out your I could have taken out a cigarette and light it by the time that dude starts lining up his right before I mean, it's so telegraphed. It's insane.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I couldn't. It's like and everything was set up in the same thing. He has to throw the jab. Every time he threw the right hand was off the same motion. Like if you studied film on this kid and you had even a tiny ability to box, you'd be able to beat him. Because right now, look you can see Shields is pissed. Like he won the fight, but Shields is yelling at him in the corner. Use your head, touching him. Like he's really mad at him right now. Good for you, Ronnie. Yeah, Ronnie was just ripping into him.
Yeah,
like yelling at him, telling him to point to his head. Like keep your hands up. Like that was just rank amateur shit. But that's what happens. He gets this kid out of Nigeria. Who knows how many amateur fights, if at all, he had? I mean, they could have said he had so many, but I'll tell you, this dude he's still very green. Very green.
Yeah,
he could tighten up his defense, but he's just so big. I think he only operates at that one speed, and he's comfortable boxing like that.
he doesn't really have the coach who works on defense either.
Corruption.
Shields,
Did you watch?
Shields is good. Shields is a good trainer. Really
Corruption.
is. Shields.
Corruption. Did you see the fight? Or
is he with Ronnie Shields or Derek James?
Ronnie Shields.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, Jimmy, didn't you say that the rumor is that Ronnie Shields fighters, or at least his gym, there's some shenanigans going on?
Juice to the tilt.
So this guy, what do you think? Like Nigerian
well,
genetics?
he has bitch tit. Yeah, I saw some puffiness in his nipple. So at some point he was taking extra testosterone. Absolutely. Plus Nigeria, some of the best steroids come out of Nigeria.
Really?
Too.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no. Africa has, because of course they set up labs. Nothing's regulated.
Right.
So yeah, no, they are. But
I thought the only good
India
things they
too,
had.
believe it or not, that's strange. But India makes some of the best juice.
Oh, so
reason.
when they sell me dick pills on my email address, I mean that I should buy them or?
It depends.
No,
Don't take too much Viagra, dude. You'll end up in an emergency room.
Well,
yeah,
wouldn't be anything new.
I wouldn't doubt.
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
I was just gonna say I wouldn't doubt that India, because they have a lot of doctors, right?
Yeah.
Well, chemical, chemical companies pharmaceutical companies opened up there because of regulations and whatnot. So yeah, that's like pharmaceutical. They all have made, but they, for whatever reason, they produced like the best Dianabol ever. Called Pronabol. Was it Pronabol 50s? Yeah, Pronabol 50. That was the best oral steroid I've ever taken in my life. Shit was insane. But yeah, I was out of India.
No kidding. That's interesting, man. So it says Nigeria, India. Because everybody always thinks Mexico, right? Hey, let's go across the border and get that steroids in Mexico. But India and Nigeria.
Well, Mexico, you could buy them. No, I mean, that whole thing going to like a pharmacy. No, if you weren't Mexican, you had to know somebody. Because like, especially in Tijuana, if you went to, they wouldn't just, if you're an American, hey, give me some steroids. A lot of pharmacists have integrity, even in Mexico, which
what
I
does
know
that
I
mean?
shouldn't, that sounds, no, but what I mean is in Tijuana, what I should have said, where everything's out in the, what kind of city Tijuana is.
Yeah, I get you.
But the pharmacists there, because I know if people have done it, they've gone in like, no, you don't have a. So they were like, fucking, they had honor, like integrity. They weren't just going to sell it. Plus, these kids are probably arrogant. They're probably sick of white Americans walking in, give me some steroids. You know what I mean? But I know you can get them there very easily. But even if they're not made out of Mexico, that's obviously,
Yeah, that's the place to go to. All right, so listen, fellas, the main event.
And if you want chemical weapons, then you want to go to Azerbaijan and sort of Ukraine. They have all of the sort of black laboratories, they call it. That's where they're developing all these chemical weapons for sale, VX center for nerve gas and stuff like that, all coming out of Azerbaijan and Ukraine.
Jesus Louise,
human growth hormone, the original GHB. I mean, human growth hormone, HGB. There, that was right out of the town, 2 towns over from where I live in Bedford. That Bedford Labs. They were the first ones in the early or late '80s to be putting that out. That was when they would actually need the cadavers of dead people, the pituitary gland from dead people. They would have to. That's how they made it. They make it, synthesize that. But now they can, make it chemical wise.
Right. Yeah, it sounds.
So it's cheaper. Back in the day, it was like fucking anywhere from $300 to $400 a bottle. You had to keep it in your refrigerator.
Yeah, just to mix it up with the milk.
And the thing with growth hormones is it's only like an endocrinologist is the only person that can actually prescribe that. There's only like 2 or 3 strict conditions in which these endocrinologists can prescribe it. So it's one of those drugs that anything off label, that's why it's a federal offense, certainly in America, to be selling that. Very strict.
Well, you know what they did, brother? You know what they did here in the States back, I think it was 2004, 2005. Now they have it in, those male wellness clinics you hear everywhere?
Yeah.
I mean, they're all over California, Texas, New York, and now they even have some in Massachusetts. You see those commercials, you're having a hard time, you don't have that same drive when you were in your 30s. Basically, all you do is you go there and they give you a shot of GH. I mean, human growth, like Sylvester Stallone, he owns part of a corporation who owns a bunch of those wellness centers, but that's all it is. They just grown-ass men go and get a shot of GHB, I mean, GHB, human growth hormone once a week. And your hair starts coming back in, you get your libido back. But
that's a way to grow your hair back and get your balls back too at the
Jimmy,
same time.
Jimmy, that's where the accusations came from with the old quarterback from the Denver Broncos. He when he had an injury, he was.
You talking about Peyton Manning?
Yeah. They were saying that saying that a famous doctor a famous doctor called Stephen Ty, who's like one of the biggest
Peyton Manning,
pharmaceutical doctors, for
Peyton Manning,
athletes.
without a doubt,
did
something. Look, he had one of the worst injuries you can have in terms of being a quarterback, right? Because he injured his neck, the nerves in his neck that's attached to his traps. Okay, that's attached to his traps, right? That's your muscles. So he did it. Like, it's like, what's the big fucking deal? And like, there's Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady. I like Tom Brady for different reasons. I'm not a New England fan or Boston fan. I like Tom Brady he pisses off socialist America, and he's a winner. So that's where my like for him is at. But what do you think he's doing? What do you think he's all natural? This guy's taking something for sure. You think he's just he's able to play this long in the league because it's just all natural? No, he needs a little something. He didn't suffer the big injury Peyton Manning did, but don't get it twisted. The man's still 42 years old.
Manning definitely took growth hormone.
Peyton Manning's wife was collecting it, they say, off this doctor, Stephen Ty, this Texas-based doctor, and there's credibility, like Al Jazeera did a documentary on it, and they found out that this doctor was actually working there for years. Yeah.
Hey, fellas, the Spence interview is coming up, and I'm very curious to see if he looks like the monster from Frankenstein or whether he's okay. So the main event also is going to start after that, I believe. So we're going to end this, but before we do, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to Recognize, Jimmy, Corruption in Boxing, Gonzalo, King Bucho was here as well. G Boogie was here as well earlier. So thank you guys for joining us. You really make this show as the interesting show that it is and the fun show that it is. So I want to thank you guys. We got your predictions.
Shout out to everyone, man. Shout out to everybody that contributes to BDA.
That's
chat,
absolutely.
Panelists.
BDA, man. You guys always have good people on. I tell my girl, I was telling you the other night, I said, one thing about BDA, man, you can't come in there sounding stupid because you'll get checked. I'm like, you got Stu from England. All these dudes know their boxing, so you start talking stupid, you get checked. So
we're chin checkers on this.
Chin checkers, motherfuckers. All right, guys, all be safe, all right?
All right,
every day above ground, a good day.
You too.
Shout out to everybody in the chat and to our girl Bay Area. Stay off the Budweiser.
Our girl Bay Area. Hey, shout out to the trolls that come on and try to bring the show down. It's not working.
Shout out to Triple J, Buddy Aces, and the rest of Shep and those.
Just say no unless it's free.
That's right. That's right. That's sound advice right there. That's sound advice. All right, listen, fellas, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for the compliments. You guys make this a great show. So it wouldn't be the same without you.
Peace, John.
Take it easy, fellas. And don't forget, I did take down the predictions. So if you get them wrong too often, you're out of this show. I also want to thank Michael Stott and John Gonzalez for the contributions in the super chat. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. And let's go to the chat room and thank everybody there as well. Travis the Chimp, Overhand, King Black Panther, 9000, Joe Lopez, Overhand, Omar Davila, Chalino Sanchez, Gonzalo Anaya, Pink Panther, Shepherd of Sons was there, Jonathan Merson, Triple JJ, SSB 28. Who else? Tony Yayo, Chalino Sanchez. G Boogie was in there as well. Gizmondo, Paul B, Hawker Mustang, The Fight Scout, Virtuoso, shout out to those guys, Ryu, Sigma, CG, Isotonic, and many more. If I forgot any about Body Aces, Vader D, One Hitter, If I forgot the Bronze Plumber, if I forgot anybody, guys, sorry about that, but we do have to go. But thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to sign up to Discord. Check out the BDA PayPal page, the BDA Patreon page, the Twitter page. And don't forget to like, subscribe, check out BDA Live for film analysis. And that's about it, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one. Enjoy the fights.
That's it to give our king for up-a-pum-pum, up-a-pum-pum, up-a-pum-pum. Shall I play for you for up-a-pum-pum on my drum? Very night for up-a-pum-pum. The ox and lamb kept time for up-a-pum-pum. I played my drum for him for up-a-pum-pum. I played my best for him for up-a-pum-pum, up-a-pum-pum.